The hungry Bears are on the attack, led by Neil Anderson and an emotional quarterback, Mike Tomczak. An intense Mike Singletary sets the tone for the Chicago defense. They either deny the run or simply steal the ball. Intensity is a necessity and a requirement under Bears head coach Mike Ditka. Rodney Peete is still looking to see his first action, but time may be running out for Galliano and the Lions offense. The passing game is aimed at Richard Johnson to hold on and allow superback Barry Sanders to plow the line and keep the silver stretch alive. Head coach Wayne Fonts and assistant Mouse Davis guide the Mouseketeers, trying to restore the roar. The second oldest rivalry in the NFL. It's seen Papa Bear Hallis, Bobby Lane, Gale Sayers, Lem Barney, Alex Karras, and Sweetness. And welcome to the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan for today's game between the 2-0 Chicago Bears and the revamped Young Lions of Detroit. Outside, the weather is autumnal. It's crisp inside on this first official weekend of fall. And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Tim Brandt. The Chicago Bears are favored today, and well, they should be. They're 2-0, having scored 55 points in their first two games, while only two teams in the NFL have scored fewer points than the Detroit Lions. And as we turn to Dan Jiggets, Dan, when you talk to Mike Ditka, it appears that he likes the chemistry of this team very much.
Well, he certainly does. He started off this season saying we're going to do whatever it takes with whomever it takes. And that's meant probably about 9 more rookies on this club. But one thing you know the Bears have to do is run the football. That means Neil Anderson's got to get out there and get busy. And on defense, Mike Singletary may be the only linebacker in the game today for the Bears. They may see 5 or 6 defensive backs.
Now, they say this silver stretch is a possession-type passing offense. It is high percentage, and they say you can do more with less talent. It's a neutralizer.
But certainly, as you look at Detroit, they've got 4 free agent wide receivers starting in this ball game. And they've got Barry Sanders, a Heisman Trophy winner, in the backfield. That changes the complexion of things offensively. Defensively, Detroit knows they've got to put pressure on Mike Tomczak, and that means more blitzing out of that defense of the Lions. So let's go down to the field.
All right, Dan, the Bears have been in first place in the NFC Central since the first game of 1984, while the Lions have not had a winning season since 1983. The Lions won the toss. Kevin Butler will kick off. And deep for the Lions, Mel Gray standing at his own goal line. This will be taken by Paul Palmer. Palmer's got a hole across the 30 to the 35-yard line. A 27-yard return for Paul Palmer. As you look at Bob Galliano, the G is silent. Galliano is the way it's pronounced, and he starts at quarterback, not Rodney Peete. The rest of the offensive lineup then for the Detroit Lions. Lomas, Brown, Andolsek, Kevin Glover, the center, Utley and Salem. Those are the down linemen. Then you come with all the wideouts. Barry Sanders, the lone setback. The 4 wide receivers, Johnson, Stanley, Mobley, and Clark. Tony Page comes in as well as a blocking back when they do load up in the backfield with Sanders. First down, Lions. Galliano, the pass on first down. Does, and it's incomplete. He was looking in the direction of Richard Johnson, but it was badly overthrown. Take a look at that defense for the line, or for Chicago rather. Armstrong, McMichael, Hampton, and Richard Dent. They will play only one linebacker today, that being Mike Singletary, and they will really load up in the secondary. Lynch, Stinson, Paul, Durson, Jackson, and Sean Gale. The rookie, Donnell Wolford, has been inactive today. He has a shoulder injury, separated that slightly last week after an interception. Second down and 10, the ball on the 35 for Galliano and the Lions. Galliano has the completion. Johnson has the first down to the 49-yard line. Run out of bounds by Bestie Jackson. A gain of 15 for the Lions.
Bears apparently are sending Dave Durson on. That's the second blitz Dave Durson has been on, trying to put a little pressure on Galliano. And the one thing that happens then is, you know, you're going to end up with man-to-man coverage. With all of that motion and the picks and rubs that the receivers from the Lions are running, people are going to be open on every play. a lot of times underneath such as that on that play.
Mike Ditka in his 8th year won a Super Bowl in '85, 5 consecutive division titles. First and 10 at midfield. Richard Johnson in motion for Galliano, and again he's going to throw. 3 plays, 3 passes, and 2 first downs. Clark inside the 25, the ball's loose. Picked up by the Bears, and Sean Gale runs out of bounds at the 35-yard line.
Sean Gale was beaten on the play, and then comes back and saves his own life. He must have been born with a life jacket on, because he gets beat on the play and then comes back to pick up the fumble. He was out of bounds. Now watch, on the right side of your screen, Galliano's going to look over there, find his receiver. Now watch right here. Gale has the tackle right on the sideline, but oops, just misses him right there. Now the receiver's breaking away, going downfield. That's Clark, Robert Clark. Dave Ducey coming in on the stop, and right there the ball is punched out. Clearly a fumble on the play. It's recovered by the Bears. Sean Gale, he gets up and says, hey, I can get up and run with this thing. You see Eric Andelsack come over, he tackled the wrong guy. Now, here comes Sean Gale, gets knocked out of bounds.
A great hit by Paul to knock the ball loose. Marcus Paul. The Lions had a gain of 32 before the fumble.
After further review, the play will stand as called. First down.
I think we all knew that.
So a gain of 32 is negated. The first turnover of the game for the Lions, and the Bears now have their first offensive possession. Morris to the bottom of the screen, McKinnon to the top. On first down, Tomczak has the completion to McKinnon. McKinnon goes out of bounds at the 40. Knocked out by William White. Offensively for Chicago, Jimbo Covert, Bortz, Hilgenberg, Thayer, Van Horn, and the tight end is James Thornton. That line's been intact a long time. Neil Anderson, of course, the outstanding running back. Muster joins him as the blocker. McKinnon and Morris the wideouts, and Dennis Gentry, a big play wide receiver, comes in on obvious third down passing situations. Second down and 6 for Tomczak and the Bears. This is Anderson. Across the 40 to the 41-yard line, tripped up by Chris Spielman. And we'll set that Detroit Lion defensive scheme for you. Williams, Ball, and Kevin Brooks. The linebackers, Jimmy Williams, Chris Spielman, who's extremely active, Victor Jones, and Michael Cofer. Jones starting for the injured Dennis Gibson. In the secondary, it's Taylor, who is a man-to-man specialist. Holmes, White, and Benny Blades, the strong safety. McNorton and Griffin come in on obvious passing downs in the nickel and the dime defense. Third down, call it 5 for the Bears. 3 wide receivers. Tomczak with pressure. Has the room. First down. To the 40-yard line. A gain of 18 for Tomczak.
Did you see Mike Tomczak wanting a lateral off to Dennis Gentry? He's making the ball, and Gentry said, hey, here, let me give it to you downfield. Gentry says, I'll have none of that.
Look at him laughing right now, talking about it.
Okay, now watch. The pressures are going to come from out here. Michael Cofer, number 55, is going to come from outside here, and he's going to rush. And Mike Tomczak's going to avoid the rush. Keith Van Horn's working against Cofer right there. Now Tomczak knows he's got to get out of the pocket. Heads downfield. All the linebackers and secondary dropped out. Now you see Tomczak. He wants to flip that ball out to Dennis Gentry, but he's not sure if he should do it, and he takes the hook slide, drops the ball there, but recovers it.
Gentry wanted it. Play action on first down for Tomczak. Muster just couldn't hold on to it, but he was open.
Muster should have held on to it. That's a pass that you've got to catch if you're the starting fullback for the Bears. And Brad Muster is a receiving specialist out of Stanford. Those are the kinds of things that are really a part of his game. But I think the problem that he's having is a little bit of a confidence thing right now.
There's been a lot of talk about Tomczak hitting only 40% of his passes in the first 2 games. But when you talk to Mike Ditka, he says those stats don't mean much. He's not taking sacks, and a lot of the passes have been dropped. There's a perfect indication of that. That ball should have been caught. McNorton and Griffin now come in for the Lions. Nickel situation on 2nd down and 10 at the 42. Anderson. He's hit at the 40 by Eric Williams, Jerry Ball, and he got a lot of support from Bruce McNorton.
You know, when you work through that draw up front, it's between Jay Hilgenberg and Jerry Ball. And the responsibility of the center is to make sure that that nose tackle right on the right side of your screen, 93 right there, along with the guard. They got good movement up front early. Then Jerry Ball slipped back in there and made the stop on the play.
It'll bring up 3rd down and 8 for the Bears. The ball on the 40. Shotgun formation for Chicago. Inside pressure. McKinnon, 1st down to the 23. A gain of 18. Benny Blades made the tackle on McKinnon.
The reason why the Bears were successful on the play, though, is McKinnon and Gentry ran a pick on that play. You'll see them both coming out on the right side of your screen, 85 and 29. Now, when Tom Zach completes the pass, both of those guys are side by side. Now, all of a sudden, they've broken open, and the reason why is because they picked off on each other. Defensive backs got tangled up, and Dennis McKinnon is open downfield and makes a nice reception.
So it'll be 1st down at the 22 for Chicago. And after the Lions started strongly, turned the ball over on a fumble, the Bears have come right back. We're scoreless with 11 minutes to play in the 1st quarter. Great play by Michael Kofer. Got Brad Muster from behind.
Now, Michael Kofer made a nice play on the backside, but watch Jay Hilgenberg up here working against Jerry Ball. I have a feeling these guys will see each other during the offseason in Hawaii. Nice blocking there, a little help from Tom Thayer. And look at Jay laying on him a little bit. Jerry saying, hey, look, I'm not a ball. Let me up.
Jerry Ball, 6'1", 298 pounds. Jay Hilgenberg, 6'3", 260. And he's durable. Down in 7. Tomczak has a man open. Bosco inside the 5 to the 2.
And one of the nice things about an offensive line that's been together a long time is they're going to give you a quarterback a lot of time to throw the football. Mike Tomczak, very comfortable in the pocket back there, had a lot of time to throw, looked downfield, found his tight end, Cap Bozo.
Bozo takes it to the 2.
Watch this protection up front. Everybody in front of him, and Mark Forts can't even find anybody to block, number 62, looking around to help out. That's what helps your quarterback be successful. Here's another look at it from the top. Look at that cup of protection that the offensive line has given Mike Tomczak. That's perfect. That's the kind of way you want to grade out on Sunday.
Bozo made a fine catch coming from behind. And the Bears are going to take a timeout.
Timeout, Chicago.
So with 9:24 remaining in the 1st period, we're still scoreless. About Mike Ditka, and the headline was 1991, could the Bears beat Ditka's less? Well, we don't know what the future holds, but we had a pretty good conversation with him yesterday. Maybe an owner down the road.
That's right. He mentioned that. He also mentioned the fact that, I heard Will talking to the NFL today about possible commissioners, and I think he's another name that you could quite possibly add to that list sometime down the future. He said he was interested.
He believes to play in the NFL, it's a privilege, not a right. He believes that firmly. 1st down and goal at the 2 for the Bears. Anderson, left side. He's not going to get there. He lost a couple of yards. Benny Blades came through to make the tackle along with Kofer and Williams.
Jimmy Williams came from the far side, just split down the defense and came right through the offensive line. He saw Mark Bortz trying to pull out the sweep on the other side of the play. Just came right through the defensive line, comes into the backfield and makes the play. Jimmy Williams has gone through a lot of trials and tribulations this season, early this season, with questions of whether or not he was going to be with the Lions. He decided to just settle down and play the best football he can, and certainly the first 2 games have been that. Outstanding
play by Benny Blades. He got there first, and Williams supported him. 2nd and goal at the 5. Again, it's Anderson, and again he stopped. This time it is Williams who hits him first.
One of the things you have to do on a goal line is get on the linebackers. Jimmy Williams is right here on that side. Watch him slice in. Good pressure up in here, driving that line back, and that's the reason why the Bears just could not get in the end zone. Now watch this driving back, and if Bortz can't even get out of the backfield to throw his block, Jimmy Williams is standing on the line of scrimmage. Nobody blocks him. He makes the tackle.
3rd and goal from the 4 for the Bears. Play action, Tomzak. Incomplete, almost intercepted. It was intended for Kozlowski.
William White stepped in front of that one, and the only thing he had was about 100 yards of green astroturf in front of him. Now watch the play here on the right side of your screen. Kozlowski's going to try to slip in the end zone. Now watch White just slip right in here. Ball's thrown. It's a little bit late. White has the interception, could go 100 yards on the interception.
Holmes almost had it as well. Kevin Butler, who has a streak of 12 straight. A 21-yard attempt. And it's good. So with 7 minutes and 44 seconds remaining first period, the Bears are on the board. 21-yard field goal has put Chicago up 3-0 over Detroit with 7:44 remaining first period.
Bears like to go down early, get on the board. Would love to have gotten a field goal out of the thing. And there's the fiancée of Bob Galliano, the starting quarterback for the Detroit Lions. Now, earlier today, you know, she wanted to show off her rock to some of her friends there, and as you can see, the friends are kind of excited. It's a pretty big stone. Now, Bob and Kim are going to get married tomorrow on radio here, as a matter of fact, and should be a nice event. See right there, that's the diamond. It's kind of big. You can see how bright it is right there. Giving off a lot of light.
Butler kicking off. This will be taken by Gray to the 37-yard line. Bill Gray with a fine return, finally knocked out by George Streeter. A return of 28 yards.
There's the man of the hour, Bob Galliano. He's a lot of pressure on him to get married. They said even some television stations wanted to pick up on the activities. He said the radio station's going to pay for the whole setup.
This is Galliano, a model for Swimsuit Illustrated. Leaning toward that left heavily. She's got that strong rock.
So the Steelers are beating the Vikings in the first quarter, 7-zip.
First down at the 38 for the Lions. They trail 3-0 after Butler's 21-yard field goal. This is Sanders. Gets back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about all. Lemuel Stinson got there first.
Lemuel Stinson comes out of Texas Tech, and of course down there they're used to seeing this run and shoot with Houston being in that same division, so he's not going to be fooled too much about what the Lions offense is doing with this silver stretch. He's got some experience with it.
So to bring up second down at 10 for Bob Galliano and the stretch. Clark comes to the bottom of the screen. Walter Stanley goes to the top. Mobley in motion. Richard Johnson in the slot. Galliano looks right now, has pressure. Better unload it. Does, and it's incomplete. It was thrown in the direction of Walter Stanley. Galliano had a lot of company, and he didn't have time to set and throw.
I'll tell you why, Trace Armstrong broke up field, got good pressure, prevented Bob Galliano from rolling out the way he wanted to and setting up behind his offensive right tackle. And then that caused him, that flushed him out of the pocket, ran to the sideline, and only one receiver broke back to him to give him an opportunity to squeeze the ball in there. Everybody else was running away from him.
It'll bring up third down and 10 now at the 38. Galliano. Sacked. Trace Armstrong will get credit for the sack.
Trace Armstrong stayed active on the play. Harvey Salem is blocking him, feels that His quarterback is behind him. Now watch him at the top of your screen right here. That's where the action is going to take place. Trace Armstrong working against Harvey Salem. Good blocking so far. Now Galliano's got to get out of that pocket, step up a little bit. Harvey Salem just didn't maintain contact with Trace Armstrong. Trace stays after the play, makes the sack.
So Jim Arnold comes on to punt. He's averaging 45. Mark Green is deep for the Bears. It's a wobbly kick, not a particularly long one. It'll hit at the 30, and Green will let it roll all the way down to the 22. So a 34-yard punt, no return, and the score remains the same, 3-0 Bears. 6:15 remaining first quarter, and the Bears lead after a 21-yard field goal by Kevin Butler. Take care of some business here. The Chicago Cubs have that lead, and the magic number is 4. We asked Mike Ditka about the Cubs. Here was his response.
I'm the biggest Cub fan in the world. I want to wish Don and all the players the best of luck, the best results, and I want to compliment them on the outstanding season they've had this year so far. The people of Chicago are proud of you. The Bears are behind you and proud of you. God bless you. Go for it. Get them all.
Boy, I tell you, that's inspiring. Webster's hitting the ninth. Hit the Bucks 3-2. Magic number's 4. This is complete the muster at the 24. Pretty good lick out there by William White, the free safety.
Nice setup there. They had 2 levels of receivers they could have gone to in the play. The Bears could have. They had Muster short, and then they had Dennis Gentry long on the play. And Mike Tomczak had enough time to simply sit back there and pick out which one he wanted to go to. Decided to go to Brad Muster. Good thing. Gives him an opportunity to catch the football and get comfortable in the game. Drop one earlier.
Gain of 2. It'll be 2nd down and 8 at the 24 for Chicago. Gentry comes in along with Kozlowski. There are your wideouts. Boso in motion. Tomczak with plenty of time has this one almost intercepted. William White had his hands on it. It was intended for Gentry.
That's a second interception William White could have had today. And you know he's stopping and thinking to himself, gee, what do I have to do to get my hands on the ball? Now he's trying to work with Dennis Gentry here. You see that little push off there, zone defense. Jerry Holmes pushed Dennis Gentry off, but now Gentry doesn't go any further. Mike Tomczak has had a problem throwing the football high. He's got to get that ball down in there, get it a little bit lower, and give his receivers an opportunity to catch it. The other thing is it's dangerous for receivers when that ball is thrown that high. You get hit in the middle, and all of a sudden you're out of a ball game. But White's going, hey, that's the second one I've dropped today. I could have had a score on the other one, 100 yards, but who wants to run that far?
So to bring up 3rd down and 8. I bet you he'd like to run that far. Should have had it. Has the completion. Depending on the mark, Gentry's going to be close to the first. The mark will be just about a yard short.
Dennis Gentry may be the MVP of the Bears in terms of everything that he brings to this club. You know, the ability to run the football, special teams, catching the football, all-around package.
Good lick by Holmes. Jimmy Williams was out there as well. Doesn't look like he had enough after the mark, but we'll wait and see.
Gentry's an experienced receiver, knows how to go for those sticks, though. That's the one thing you always teach your receivers. In that situation is make sure you get enough to get the first down.
He did get it. He's their big play guy, isn't he?
Absolutely. You know, you talk to coaches around the league, and Wayne Fonts mentioned it to us yesterday. He said Gentry's a guy that concerns him because he does so many things so well.
First down Bears on the 32. .455 remaining first period. It's 3-0 Chicago. Play action. Tomczak over the middle. Thornton at the 40. Benny Blades on the tackle, but James Thornton came open, and it's a gain of 28.
James Thornton set up Jimmy Williams early on the play, though. Mike Tomczak told us yesterday he wanted to look at the tight ends as the possible go-to guys in their offense. Pump fake sets him up right there. You know those defenders stop as soon as they see that pump fake, and then Thornton slips in between the zone, right between the linebackers and the defensive backs, and makes the reception. The key there was Mike Tomczak set the play up with that nice pump fake. Everybody freezes right now because they think the ball's already thrown, and that gives your receiver time to get open.
First down at the 40. This is Anderson. Nice cut inside to the 37-yard line. Neil Anderson. Tackle made by Benny Blades. They say Anderson represents 45% of the Bears' offense this year. Had 155 of the Bears' 306 net yards last week.
It's about par for the course for the Bears. You know the one thing they're always going to feature, as we said in the open, is they're going to feature the running attack. That's where everything starts for them. You know, that's the way you win football games. Running the football.
Second down and 8 at the 38 for Tomczak and the Bears. This is Neil Anderson. Great cut, first down to the 24-yard line. Again, it's Benny Blades who makes the tackle, but a fine pickup by Anderson.
Well, I tell you what, one of the things that really helps this play is you get good blocking up front on the corner. Watch the right side of your screen. Good blocking up there by Jimbo Covert. Mark Mortz comes off, and Brad Mustard leads the play and gets a great block on Benny Blades. Takes him 10 yards down the field, carrying him all the way down there, and that allows the running back, Neil Anderson, to get those extra 4 or 5 yards. We talked about Brad's catching ability coming out of Stanford, and one thing that was always a question is whether or not he was going to be a blocker in the National Football League, and I think he's showing signs of really coming around in that regard.
Indicative statistic that you just saw there. It's 3-0 Bears. First down, Mustard breaks free at the 10, inside the 5 to the 2, and again the tackle made by Benny Blades. A gain of 20.
Young man is settling down now. He's getting some blocking out of his line up front. Van Horn with a good block on Eric Williams, 76. Pancake block takes him to the turf. Brad Mustard, strong running. Guy's 6'4" and about 235. Takes Benny Blades down there close to the goal line. This is where the Bears have a little bit of a problem, though. When they get down here on the 1 or 2 yard line, punching the ball in, they tried a lot of different things. Brad Mustard's not the short yardage guy that you'd like for him to be. But Neil Anderson certainly can get elevated and get the ball in the end zone.
Tom Thayer lights up at tight end. He's eligible. Anderson has all he can do just to get the handle on the football and goes down at the 5. Benny Blades again came through and made the tackle along with Chris Spielman.
Here's Mike Tomczak pulled away from center. Somebody stepped on his foot because he simply tripped and then tried to flip the ball out here. And watching the middle of your screen, Tomczak right there stumbles. Somebody kicks him right on the leg, and he goes down and still is able to get the ball back to Neil Anderson. But, you know, Neil can't get out of the backfield.
Looked like Hilgenberg.
Yeah, it sure did. Here's another look at it right here. It is Jay Hilgenberg indeed. He's trying to get his block, cut his man off, but it really ties up Mike Tomczak's feet.
So it's a loss of 4. It'll be second down and goal at the 6. The Lions stopped them last time down here, and the Bears had to settle for a 21-yard field goal. This is Muster inside. Touchdown, Chicago.
Mike Ditka wanted to prove a point with Brad Mustard. That time, short yardage situation on the goal line. He says, hey, I want to let my big fullback take it in this time just to prove all those guys like Jiggett's wrong.
Hey, he earned it.
That's
Picked
right.
up 20 to get down there. And also threw the block for Anderson on his big game. So Kevin Butler comes on to attempt the extra point. He's perfect in this department thus far this year. Chicago extends its lead to 10 with 1:13 remaining in the first quarter.
Pulling.
1:13 to play, first quarter. Chicago jumps out to a quick 10-0 lead on a Butler field goal and a 6-yard touchdown run by Brad Muster, and they've been rather emphatic the way they've handled the ball thus far, the Bears.
Well, I think the one thing they wanted to do today was control the ball and keep the turnovers down. They've so far successfully done both of those things.
And consequently, Detroit, which wanted to do the same, has not. They fumbled after a pretty good drive early on, and that led to the field goal, and they weren't then able to stop Chicago on the next drive. Butler to kick off to Mel Gray, who's standing at the goal line. He won't get a chance on this one. This is really short. It's Stanley at the 20. Out to the 26-yard line.
And one of the reasons why the Bears are successful on this play. Now, this is a trap play here by John Wojciechowski. Now, watch the blocking in here. Clears everybody out. You're going to see Jimbo Covert come down and block in there. And that's just going to open up the lane for Brad Mustard. And unfortunately, my telestrator won't clear. There we go. Now we're going to roll it. Now, watch this trap blocking in here. Good blocking up front, crisp. Now Brad Mustard's going to deliver a blow on White there and just kind of drive him into the end zone. The thing there, though, Brad Mustard kept his legs going to push himself into that end zone.
First down, Lions at the 27-yard line. And the silver stretch has to get going here if the Lions are going to have any success at all today. This is Barry Sanders. Gets a pretty good block on the corner. Out across the 30 to the 35-yard line, and there's a flag on top of that. Singletary drove him out of bounds and got some help from Marcus Paul.
And somebody stayed at the fair just a little bit too long on the play and tackled Barry Sanders while he was on the white out of bounds marker, and that's probably why the penalty was thrown. A face mask on the play.
And it's on Marcus Paul, number 36.
The key there, though, is you saw Sanders as he came out around the corner.
Incidental face mask, 5-yard penalty defense, first down.
There's the 5 and 15 rule. It'll be a 5-yard penalty.
And now you see why. Watch Bestie Jackson, number 24. He's going to react to Barry Sanders running the football. Now watch this little move here by Sanders. That little step inside, pulls it back outside, and heads around the corner. That's that thing that makes you kind of special. You know, there's the face mask right there by Marcus Paul, just as he was reaching across to try to grab Barry Sanders. Unfortunately, got some face masks on the play.
Run out by Singletary. There he is again. Sanders across midfield. He is explosive to the 46. Marcus Paul and Dave Dewar should make the stop after a gain of 14.
This one going right up the middle. Good blocking up front. Lyman get on. Dan Hampton gets pushed out of the play. Barry Sanders breaks back and back of the block by Andelsek. Now watch him when he gets into that secondary. That's where he can really be dangerous. Those little subtle moves that where it really throws the defensive back off. Here's another peek at it. Now watch the little subtle moves of Barry Sanders. Cut back blocking there. Now you see him get over that other side. Now watch these little steps in here. That you see Marcus Paul. He doesn't know really where to go to try to tackle Barry Sanders.
A good play to end the first quarter on. So that's the end of the first quarter with the score, Chicago 10, Detroit nothing.
National Football League is sponsored by Busch Beer. Head for the mountains of Busch Beer. Northwest Airlines. Their job is helping you do yours. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
The silver stretch showing some signs of life here with Barry Sanders running the football, but that hadn't been the problem. This team really churns up the yardage, but they just don't score the points. They're having trouble getting in the end zone and still having trouble turning the ball over. We saw the fumble by Clark in the first quarter.
I think what the Lions need to do offensively right now is start protecting on a few passes and gain a little bit more confidence back in this ballgame.
It's first down and 10, Lions at the 46 as we start the second 15 minutes of this ballgame. Sanders again pushes his blockers ahead across the 45 to the 43-yard line. Barry Sanders showing some strength. He's only 5'8", 203 pounds, but he got behind his lineman and pushed everything forward.
I think that's the thing that makes him a special running back. As you look at the time of possession, you can see where the Lions just have not been successful in maintaining their drive. And as you mentioned before, the fumble was one key reason for that, but also the Bears' running attack. Been very successful in the first quarter, able to maintain the football, push it down the field, and then finally Mustard goes in for the 6-yard touchdown.
Mike Ditka told us yesterday that one of the keys to a successful game today by the Bears would be maintaining that possession, keeping the ball out of the hands of that silver stretch attack. Second down and 8 at the 44. Galliano over top. This is Johnson with a fine catch inside the 30 to the 27-yard line. Marcus Paul made the tackle, but that whole play belongs to that guy, Richard Johnson. Fine catch, gain of 17.
Had a big week last week against the Giants, coming back against the Bears, looking for the same kind of activity back there. See the numbers last year, 9 receptions so far this season, 9 receptions, 117 yards.
Last week against the Giants. He now has 11 catches thus far this year overall. First down and 10 at the 27 for the Lions.
Bears have 5 defensive down linemen in the game. That includes William Perry, Dan Hampton, and Steve McMichael inside.
Galliano. Here's Sanders. Sanders hit by Singletary at the 16. Mike Singletary, a 9-year veteran, tackling the rookie, Barry Sanders. Sanders, the second youngest player in the NFL, was in 7th grade when Mike Singletary was playing in the NFL.
He's getting his graduate degree now against Mike Singletary. I tell you, one thing the Bears said that they were going to do, and they've indeed done it, going with 5 defensive linemen there. Now William Perry is going out of the game, so they'll go with a conventional 4-1-6 setup. But the thing that they're trying to do is get some outside pressure and reduce the pocket for Galliano. That makes him throw the football faster. Now you can see they only have 4 down linemen in the game.
First down and 10 at the 17 for the Lions. Sanders breaks one tackle and drags another down to the 15.
Trace Armstrong had a handful of jersey, and he's trying to break. Barry Sanders was trying to break away on the play. Now, watching here, that's where you're going to see Armstrong come away from. Now, he's just going to slant inside on the line. Oh, excuse me, that's Hampton. But watch Armstrong come to the backside. Now, watch Barry Sanders' jersey. It gets stretched right there. Now, that's that leg drive from Sanders. He's pulling away and trying to take Trace down the field with it.
He's got that low center of gravity. Very strong legs. Second down and 8 at the 15. This is where the Lions have had problems, inside the 20. Galliano. Oh, what a hit by Lemuel Stinson. And Mobley never had a chance.
Sure didn't. Lemuel read the play right now, saw the break on the play, came up, and if he doesn't make the great tackle on the play, he makes the interception. Here's a look at it. Natural speed. Watch on the left side of your screen. Lemuel Stinson's going to come up and just Mobley right there. Boy, those are the kinds of plays that have you sitting in the ice tub on Monday.
Tuck your tail, sky your eyes, and drive right through the receiver. Perfect.
Spoken like a true defensive linebacker.
Well, you can hear that up here. Third down and 8 now for the Lions at the 15. Galliano needs a big play. Looks underneath. Johnson inside the 5 to the 3-yard line. A gain of 12. First and goal, Lions.
One of the things that the stretch allows you to do is push people into the end zone. You stretch the defense vertically and horizontally, and that allows Richard Johnson to slip up underneath of the coverage there. He's coming a little bit later than all the other receivers, so they're 10 yards further back than him. In the end zone, he comes up underneath of the coverage and makes a nice reception.
They mark it at the 3. It's first and goal, Detroit.
I heard Dick Buckley's talking earlier in the NFL Today, wondering about the stretch down on the goal line. Let's see how effective it is against the Bears defense.
Wayne Bott said if we get inside the 5, I guarantee you we'll score. We'll see. Sanders, touchdown, Lions. Perfect this year. Good snap, good hold, and it's good. So on the legs of Barry Sanders and the arm of Galliano, the Detroit Lions pull within 3. Chicago But Barry Sanders now 6 carries, 30 yards, and he got that 6-yard touchdown, or 3-yard touchdown rather, to pull him within 3, and it's 10-7.
Well, that's the thing that the Lions really needed to do is punch the ball in there, get on the board, and kind of establish themselves offensively. Now watch what happens here. The key block is really going to be by Lomas Brown. He's going to maintain a block on Dent, and Hampton's going to slice in here. Eric Anderson's going to take him right past the play, and as a result, Barry Sanders gets to run in virtually untouched on the play. Now, Sanders makes a great cut back there because he sees Hampton in his face, but watch that block on Dent. You see Lomas Brown just take him right to the end zone.
Barry Sanders, 6 carries, 30 yards, 1 catch for 10 yards. And in the NFL, he's averaging more than 6 yards per carry. Dennis Gentry and Mark Green awaiting Eddie Murray's kick. This will be Green at the 5. Reverse. This is Kozlowski. Out to the 21-yard line. And Mike Ditka told us yesterday, he said, hey, we've got a couple of new wrinkles. Look out for the reverse. And Kozlowski has an 18-yard return.
Lynn Kozlowski coming around on the return. You know, they call him Deceptive. That's his nickname on the team. And I asked him why, and he said it was because I'm slower than I look. But he tried to turn the corner on that play. And Bruce McNorton got dinged up on that kickoff coverage team. And that's going to hurt the Lions secondary because he's one of those nickel backs for him.
He sure is. We'll keep an eye on him. 10:38 remaining in the half. It's 10-7. 10:38 remaining in the first half. And they're working now on Bruce McNorton on the bench. This was the play he got hurt on.
Kickoff return. He's coming down on the coverage team. Now watch him. He's number 29. Makes the stop there in Glenn Kozlowski. But look at him. He looks like a Raggedy Ann doll because everybody's piling up on top of him. As a result, he hurt his ankle, and he just got it taped on the sideline. See if he's able to come back a little later on.
They're taping it over top of his shoe. It's first down at the 22. This is Tomczak. Had his arm hit, and it's incomplete. Tomczak now 6 for 10, 76 yards. They've held the ball for over 12 minutes in this game. At that time, he just couldn't get the pass off.
Lions sent both outside linebackers, Jimmy Williams and Michael Cofer. And that time, it looked like Jimmy Williams just reached up and just tipped his arm just as he was trying to release the football. They're trying to collapse that pocket a little bit on him. And one of the ways to do that, you know, they didn't have any sacks the first week of the season. Last week against the Giants, they only had 1. That's the one key area that they know they've got to get busy on. So that's what they're doing, is sending those outside guys so they get 5 rushing.
It'll bring up second down at 10 at the 22. The Lions bring in Crockett and Griffin now as they go to 6 defensive backs, figuring Tomczak was going to pass. He goes deep. Complete. Boso has it at the 35-yard line. Cap Boso with another fine catch on Tomczak's throw. A gain of 43.
Mike Tomczak felt a little pressure in the pocket. Protection breaks down just a little bit because they're rushing 5 defensive linemen and linebackers. Pulls out now. This is the thing. He throws on the run. Cap Boso's downfield. You see Mike toss it up. I thought Cap Boso was going to call for a fair catch downfield because the ball was up in the air so high. Tomczak really didn't have to run out of there, but he wanted to get out to the side to let himself see downfield, and as a result, he finds Cap Boso.
Well, Jerry Holmes was about 4 yards behind him.
I think Jerry Holmes was arguing with some of his other people. You know, maybe he thought he was getting a little bit of deep help on the play because he's covering a tight end. It's kind of a strange situation to have a corner covering a tight end downfield.
So it's a first down at the 34. And here's Tom Dooley, our referee. They've reviewed the play. And here's the call.
After further review, the play will stand as called first down.
The referee today is Tom Dooley. The umpire, Bob Boylston. Head linesman, Leo Miles. And Jim Quirk is the line judge. Roy Clymer's the back judge. Dwayne Gandy, the side judge. And Bruni Kirkar is the field judge. First down for Tomczak at the 34. Jerry Ball came across. We'll see if he was drawn.
Jay Hilgenberg's going, hey, I didn't pull him across. The centers rock the ball a little bit sometimes on you as a nose tackle.
False start, 57 offense.
That's Tom Thayer. Tell you, we got a late whistle, I thought, from Jim Quirk, the line judge. That may have confused a few people on that Bears line. And then Tomczak says, get down. 30-second clock, let's go. 45 at that particular time, and it was down to about 8. Now they reset it at 30. First down, 15 at the 39. Play action. Tomczak double pumps, goes deep. McKinnon's open. Touchdown Bears. To McKinnon, and Butler's on to add another one. And it's good. So Chicago comes roaring right back and leads by 10.
Cars on. Talk about the maturation of a quarterback. Watch Mike Tomczak on this play. Now he's got Matsui he's gonna go out on the left side of your screen in motion. There you see him go. He's gonna be the short receiver. Now watch Tomczak. The fake pump there sets up the defense. You saw the defense reacting to the fake pump. That leaves Dennis McKinnon behind Jerry Holmes and all alone in the end zone with the football. And Mike Tomczak goes, yeah, baby, I got one in there. Now watch, this is interesting. A little headbutt action here coming up with Jay Ilgenberg, kind of reminiscent of what Jim McMahon used to do.
78 yards, 3 plays. It took only a minute 25 seconds for the Bears to come back. This is Mel Gray at his own 5. Look out. Gray to the 32-yard line. Tackle made by Marcus Paul, a return of 27. Impressive drive by the Bears, though, Dan. 43 yards to Caposo, and then 40 yards to McKinnon on the play you just showed us.
But that's not ball control. They didn't maintain the ball and run the clock down at least 6 or 7 minutes.
Doesn't make any difference when you get that 7. So it'll be first down Lions at the 32. We've got 9 minutes, 3 seconds remain in the half. Tim Brandt, Dan Jiggets with you at the Silverdome. Pontiac, Michigan. Near capacity crowd. Sanders carries tacklers out to the 35-yard line.
Detroit has got the block, the backside in on running plays. Trace Armstrong chases the play down from the backside. You hear that backside tackle, you know that your first responsibility is going to be to cut off 93 Trace Armstrong to keep him from pursuing down the line of scrimmage, because he is awfully quick and making that play on your back before you can even get out of the backfield.
Crowd noise rule has not been a factor here today. We asked Mike Ditka about it yesterday. He says, no, it won't be a factor. We'll tell our fans to keep quiet. Second down and 7 at the 35. Galliano with pressure. Now he's got some room. First down out to the 47-yard line. So Galliano turns it into a 13-yard gain and gets the first down for the Lions. Pressure came from Armstrong and Hampton.
The one element of the stretch that you've got to take advantage of is with your quarterback. He gets in under some kind of pressure back there. He's got to have the ability right there to put the ball down, tuck it in, and take off running with it, and take it to that corner, stretch the defense a little bit, and then get out of bounds safely. That's what he's got to do, though. He's got to get to those corners and make the Bears think, hey, is he going to run the ball, or is he going to throw it downfield? All of a sudden, that puts the Bears in a sweat.
First down at the 49. Mobley in motion. Galliano with the quick drop and batted up in the air, incomplete. He was looking for Mobley in the flats, but Trace Armstrong The rookie out of Florida got a hand on it and knocked it up incomplete. Coming up next Saturday, a clash of two SEC powers featuring the Auburn Tigers and the Volunteers of Tennessee. Auburn standout quarterback Reggie Slack will be full speed ahead against the upset-minded Vols. They've already beaten UCLA and Pasadena this young season. That's all next Saturday on CBS Sports. Jim Nance, Pat Hayden, Doc, John Dockery, Greg Gumbel, they'll all be with you next Saturday here on CBS. Second down and 10, Sanders. Big hole, breaks a couple of tackles, look out. Down to the 25. He's special.
One of the reasons why a play like this is successful, watching the middle, you see the linebacker, Mike Singletary, he gets taken out of the play because right there, Kevin Glover gets a great block on him. Now Barry Sanders gets in that secondary. There are no other linebackers in the game. That's when he's dangerous, working against those defensive backs. Trace Armstrong tries to catch him downfield, gives him a little push there, but Marcus Paul finally tackles him out of bounds. But with only one linebacker in the game, when you break through that linebacker, there's nobody there but defensive backs.
First down at the 23. Sanders breaks two more tackles and gets back to the line of scrimmage. Armstrong finally pulls him down.
You get a young running back like a Barry Sanders, I guess the comparisons are inevitable. He says that one of his heroes growing up was the Kansas Comet. He grew up in Wichita, Kansas. Gale Sayers, of course, being from Kansas State. You look at him, though, you see a little bit of Billy Sims, you see a little bit of Walter Payton, but most of all, you see a new guy, Barry Sanders, very special running back. Plays like that are not easy to get out of when you're facing 5 or 6 tacklers, and all of a sudden you gain 2 yards, 3 yards on the play.
Second youngest player in the NFL, Barry Sanders. He's 21. As you look at Mike Ditka, Sanders now 62 yards in 9 carries. Galliano in a whole lot of trouble. William Perry will get credit with a sack. He may get a flag, too, if he's not careful.
Right side of your screen now, sir. We're going to have a replay coming up for you. William Perry, watch him here. Doesn't get blocked. Just comes simply, rushes past Mike Utley, and you're going to see Bob Galliano drop back, and he sees a major appliance in his face, and he goes, oh, no. Now, what the argument was over is could William Perry have let go of Bob Galliano a little earlier? No, why? That's just defensive play. He didn't sling him to the ground. He maintained control on his jersey.
Second sack of the day, a loss of 15. Third down and 24 for the Lions. Sanders has a blocker to the 23-yard line. Harvey Salem didn't give much help out there. I don't think Salem knew he was behind him.
No, he didn't. You know what happened on this play here? Barry Sanders tucked up inside again, just avoided a block. Now watch this area here. That's where all the blocking is going to take place. Now watch Sanders. He's going to avoid William Perry there, make that little bounce outside. He sees Singletary coming in there. Harvey Salem, number 73, is not aware that Barry Sanders is all the way downfield. He actually pushed Sean Gale in the back there and should have gotten a penalty for pushing in the back, but we'll let that one slide for now.
Eddie Murray is on to attempt a 40-yard field goal. It's long enough, and it's good. 14 straight field goals now for Eddie Murray. .6:27 now remaining in the half.
When you think about what the stretch offense of Wayne Fontes has to do, it's one thing to maintain the ball and keep time of possession up, and that's what the Bears, of course, have been trying to do. But with this stretch offense, you want to look at how often can you get in the end zone, because that's the thing that they have not been able to accomplish. I'm talking about the Lions over the past 2 games. They want to get on the board and get on the board often.
Dan, before the kickoff, we told you the Bears have been in first place in the NFC Central since the first game of 1984. 81 games and counting. And look at this. They've gone through 2 presidents, 25 space shuttle missions, 4 Friday the 13th movies. Wayne Gretzky's had 428 goals in that period, and 8 Yankee manager changes.
That's the key.
And the main consistency, Chicago continues to roll.
That's right. 5 Central Division championships. Looking forward to 6 this year. The reason why is Mike Ditka resplendent in his Hugo Boss outfit. You know, that figures a guy like him has to have Hugo Boss as his designer for his clothes. Hugo, the hurricane that just went through in Boston, he's the boss of the team. Kind of likes that.
He seemed awfully calm and confident when we talked to him yesterday. Lions kicking off. This will be Green at the 4. Nice play made by Nico Noga, who was just picked up on the Lions.
Talking to Nico Noga in the hotel last night, you know, he felt that kind of badly about the way he was treated with the Cardinals. He was released and came here, got an opportunity to play. He says, hey, I'm going to go back to the old way. You know, as a 5-year veteran, I'm going to play every special team they ask me and do whatever it takes to make this club. Gain
of 15. I think what was interesting was Wayne Fonts told us, Nico said, hey, I'll take you to the islands if you put me on the roster. First down, Chicago at the 19. Gentry in motion for Tomczak. This is Anderson. Anderson was run out of bounds at the 28. He'll be a yard short of the first down. Well, so far in the ball game, every time the Bears have touched the football, they've been very impressive, certainly methodical.
And one of the reasons maybe why is I'm looking at the numbers in terms of the first down, what they do on first down, running versus pass. They've had 4 runs on first down and 7 passes. Now, that's the opposite of what you would expect the Chicago Bears to be doing with that rushing game that they have.
Impressive results. Field goal, touchdown, touchdown. And it's 17-10, Bears. For Tomczak right now, it's 2nd down and 1. Play action. Again, the pump fake. Again, he goes deep. Kozlowski to the 20. Jerry Holmes makes the tackle at the 16.
Here's the pump fake by Mike Tomczak. Again, it sets up that defense because everybody bites on it. You stop right away if you're the deep defensive back. Jerry Holmes, number 43, downfield. He's chasing on the play. Glenn Kozlowski, I said before, they call him deceptive. He's slower than he looks, but he is able to get in on the play. The defender has him on the inside, leaves him that inside route, and Glenn Kozlowski does the rest of it and makes a nice catch downfield.
A gain of 57. On first down, Anderson cuts inside the 15 to the 13-yard line. Tripped up by Chris Spielman.
Neil Anderson and the running attack of the Bears blocking up front. They seal off that corner. You see number 80, that's Jim Thornton, RoboCop on RoboCop. He was blocking Michael Kofer. Both of them have the nickname RoboCop. Both of them deserve it, too, by the way.
It'll be 2nd down and 5, Dan, at the 12.
Numbers for Chicago inside the 20. You can see that they get the job done when they get down to that 20. They get it on the board.
Anderson cuts back to the 7-yard line. Tackle made by Victor Jones.
So Benny Blades kind of gloating over Neil Anderson a little bit. I think if you're Benny Blades, you probably want to cool down and relax a little bit when you think about that Bears running attack. But the thing that he's trying to do is you see him grabbing his players. He's trying to get that defense excited. He sees himself as one of the leaders of that defense along with Jerry Ball and Chris Spielman. Those are the guys that have to get this defense and the Lions excited if they want to be successful. And that's what Benny Blades is trying to do. But you got to be careful you don't taunt those Bears too much.
Mike Tomczak does not look like the lowest rated quarterback in the NFC, does he? He's 10 for 14, 224 yards. It's 3rd and 1, and he's got the first.
When you look at the Bears offense, you just kind of get this feeling that regardless of what the situation is, at some point or another, either the running game or in a desperate situation, the passing game is going to get it done for them. They just seem to search around until they find the right combination of run and pass and just go with it. and they win football games that way. Look at those numbers for total offense, 319 yards.
The crowd has gone into a chant, "Let's go Bears." First and goal at the 6, Chicago. Tomczak. Thrown away. And he may do that as well as any quarterback in the league.
Yeah, he threw a nice pass to that cheerleader that you saw down in the end zone, but I don't think she wanted the ball.
But I'm not being facetious. He throws it away to avoid the sack, and I think that's important.
Mike Ditka told us the other day that that's the one thing he likes about it. He's not taking the sacks this year in a situation where you get under some pressure. Just put it away and don't take those sacks. He's pretty good at gymnastics as well. Oh, he didn't make it over.
Give him a 4.5 on that.
Failing marks, Mike Tomczak.
More importantly, unloaded the ball and avoided the sack. It'll be second and goal at the 6. Inside. Suey still on his feet. They'll mark him just inside the 5. Strength versus strength between Suey and Blades. Blades 212 pounds, Suey 213.
The real key, though, is up front. Watch these guys right here, Jerry Ball and Eric Williams. They're going to drive the play back on the line of scrimmage. You see Hilgenberg and Bortz trying to work against Ball. He simply just reaches in, powers the play in there, along with, I think that's Victor Jones. They just mangle the play up inside, and as a result, you know, Matt Suey can't break free to get into that end zone.
So it brings up third and goal at the 5. They lead by 7. Tomczak across the middle, broken up. Eric Williams got a hand on it.
Tomczak was trying to come back up underneath the mat. Suey was circling around in the end zone. And Eric Williams stayed right there on the line of scrimmage, just reached up and got a claw on it.
So Kevin Butler will come on. And he's got 13 straight field goals himself. This will be from 22 yards. Pretty good defensive stand by the Lions. Good snap, good hold. And the kick is good. So a 22-yard field goal ups the Chicago lead to 10. Here at the Silverdome in Pontiac, the Bears have scored on all 4 possessions.
We talked about controlling the football and then being effective once you have it, getting down to the goal line, taking it and getting some kind of a score out of it.
Butler's kick will be taken by Mel Gray at the 5.
Breakout.
Nice move by Gray out across the 37. And he's dangerous. George Streeter had to make the tackle, but it was a gain and a return of 33 yards.
Little breakout there. You saw him take the ball up the field. Saw that the blocking up front collapsing on him to do what they call a breakout. You just break out to that side where you see some daylight, or in this case, I guess some artificial light, and you just go for it.
1:51 remaining in the half here in Pontiac. The Silverdome near capacity. A lot of Bears fans here, too.
20 to 30,000 of them here, and that's why Ditka was making those comments about their fans, you know, tell them to keep quiet.
Best starting field position for the Lions this afternoon. Barry Sanders gets a block from the corner out near midfield to the 49. Again, run out by Marcus Paul.
The fault being in running of Barry Sanders in the stretch offenses, you start saying, hey, well, if they're gonna play 5 defensive backs or 6 defensive backs, whatever they want to do, that reduces the number of good tacklers, linebackers that they've got on the field. So then your running game becomes a lot more effective. And keep in mind also, when you got a special running back, you have to let him touch the ball. He told us the other day, I want to touch the ball at least 20 times in a ball game. I think the Lions are allowing him to do that.
He now has 88 yards and 11 carries. First down at the 49. Sanders again. And again he gets the corner. Into Chicago territory. All the way down to the 42-yard line. Knocked out this time by Sean Gale.
He's up less than 20 seconds on 2 runs figure that now, you know, got a minute 39 seconds to work the ball down and get in scoring territory. With a guy like Sanders, that could change very rapidly. 12 rushes, 96 yards. It's been a few years since a Lions running back has gone over 100 yards.
He's only been here 2.5 weeks. He already has 3 touchdowns. Don't forget, coming up at halftime, the NFL Today, Brent and Irv. All the scores and latest information. Pat O'Brien has a moving story on rookie linebacker Derek Thomas, Kansas City. Don't miss that. First down, Lions. And they'll mark it at the 38. .129 remaining in the half. The lead is still 10. In the half, Galliano comes back on now, trailing by 10. The Lions trying to get a pretty good drive going here. The Bears have scored on every possession they've had. You saw the timeout situation. Galliano with pressure, gets it out to Sanders, and he drops it. And oh, did he have some running room.
Wayne Fonts, the only thing he could see then was 6 points going up on the board as soon as he saw Barry get out around that corner, and he was free and clear. Problem is, when the ball's coming to you like that, you got to catch it and make sure you watch it all the way in, because the ball's not going to run with you unless you grab a hold of it.
Put a handle on it.
That's right.
It'll be second down and 10 at the 39. Clark and Phillips, 2 receivers this side. Johnson now in motion, joins them. Galliano with pressure, and he's going to go down. He'll lose a yard. Richard Dent will get credit for the tackle.
He got stuck in the mix master that time. He had McMichael putting pressure on him, flushed out of the pocket, and all of a sudden he finds the defensive ends are laying there in wait on the line of scrimmage.
That's the 3rd sack of the day on Galliano.
One of the problems that the stretch offense has had is in the first 2 weeks of the regular season has been the sack totals. You know, that's one thing you want to try to keep down. The Bears, on the other hand, have only given up 1 sack. And when you look at how come they're successful, quite possibly that's one of the reasons why. Your quarterback is throwing the ball away when there's no one open and avoiding the sack, and then you don't get that negative yardage situation because you're losing 10 and 15 yards on sacks.
That's a good point. The Lions have to get down at least field goal position here. Plenty of time, 1:17, but they want to go in with a score.
Richard Dent, defensive end for the Bears, trying to come back from that broken ankle that he got last year. So one of the problems he's having is when he rushes the passer, he can't stop, plant, and spin out like he's used to, because he's a guy that gives you a lot of moves when he rushes the passer.
You're just joining us. Kevin Butler started things off, 21-yard field goal to put the Bears up 3-0. Brad Muster then scored from 6 yards out. Barry Sanders answered that with a 4-yard touchdown. And Tomczak hit McKinnon on a long pass, and then Butler added another field goal. It's 20-10, Chicago. 3rd down and 11 for the Lions. Sanders. Big spin move. Out to the 31-yard line. He'll be a yard short of the first. Finally taken down by Marcus Paul.
Now, if you're the Detroit Lions, if I'm the Detroit Lions and Wayne Fonts, I try to get the first down in this situation. Wayne Fonts has decided to try to kick the field goal. But, you know, you got 51 seconds left on the board. Let's go after it. Let's see if we can get it. But I know Wayne's thinking, well, I want to at least get 3 points out of this. And if we go into the locker room at halftime, it'll be 20-13.
This is not a gimme. It's a 49-yard attempt.
Exactly.
He's 1 for 1 today.
And the Bears do block field goal.
And it's good from 49 yards out. So Wayne Fonts gets the 3 points he looks for with 27 seconds left now, and it cuts the Chicago lead to 20-13.
Still felt like in that situation, with the kind of offense they've got, and the ability of a Barry Sanders, I want to go for the first down on that and see if I can squeeze a little bit more time off the clock, and maybe, who knows, get a touchdown before we go in for the half.
That's 15 straight field goals now for Eddie Murray. And on the afternoon, Barry Sanders 108 yards on 14 carries. As you look at some of the other scores now from around the National Football League.
Tim, here's some interesting numbers. Looking at the two offenses, the Bears versus the Lions. The Bears on first down, 5 runs, 8 passes. This supposed to be a conservative ball control offense. The Lions, stretch offense, first down, 9 runs and 5 passes. Go figure it.
That is interesting.
Sometimes things change a great deal when you come into the ball game because you're trying to disguise some of the weaknesses you feel you have or some of the weaknesses that your opponents have.
Sometimes you don't want to analyze, you just want to admire these two running backs, Anderson and Sanders. They're outstanding.
You saw that beautiful spin that Sanders made on that play, just spun around. Dave Dorsey's probably still looking for him somewhere out there on the field. Those are the kinds of things that make a running back special. Certainly that young man, Barry Sanders, is special.
Eddie Murray kicking off to Gentry and Green. It'll be Green at the 2, and he drops it. Brings it back to the 14-yard line, and he's met rather rudely by the Detroit Lions. Tony Page was the first to get there, but it'll be a 12-yard return by Green. 20 seconds remain in the half.
Mike Tomczak is approaching career numbers for himself, 224 yards passing already in this ball game. We're just getting to the half.
Lions will be trying to help him here. Spielman now hustles off the field at linebacker. 20 seconds remain. First down, Chicago. Anderson tap dances his way across the 20. Almost breaks it all the way out to the 33-yard line. Finally stopped by William White.
Boy, that's a great stats run. When you get that prevent defense, you pick up about 20 or 25 real quick. You know that there's nobody back there as soon as you break through the line of scrimmage.
A gain of 18. And Chicago takes a timeout. They have 1 remaining.
I know everyone is saying with 8 seconds left on the clock, why do you take a timeout here? Bears are thinking, look, if we go downfield, another one of those pump fakes maybe from Mike Tomczak, get the 30 or 40-yard pass. We're in position now for Kevin Butler to come on and attempt a long one.
Plus, why not take it? If they don't carry over.
That's right.
Why leave them here in the
first half? Not like when you're playing golf and you have that carry.
It's been an interesting first half. The Bears have scored almost at will. And the Lions have had big plays, have had trouble getting in, but they only trail here by 7.
Well, you know one of the things that's going to happen when you face the stretches, they're going to get some big plays on you. The key, though, is your offense has to be productive, such as the Bears are being today. Keep yourself moving on the board. Keep the points going up on the board, because that stretch is going to put some points on the board for the opposition.
Well, production-wise, it's one of the best in the NFL. Points-wise, only 2 teams who scored fewer. Play action for Tomczak. Going deep, incomplete. Broken up nicely by Taylor, and he comes up hobbling. That'll stop the clock with 3 seconds.
And Mike Tomczak, the quarterback of the Bears, sees Terry Taylor hobbling. You can believe that you're going to see Big Ben, 3 wide receivers on one side, run him down the field. If that cornerback is hurting, you try to get your receivers downfield, get them into that end zone and take advantage of that opportunity.
Of course, on Big Ben, there's a lot of help down there as well. It will not just be Terry Taylor.
Well, you can break it off. You can do different routes off of Big Ben. You can rush 3 people downfield, but you can break one of them off and let them go to the opposite side of the field at the last second.
McKinnon at the top, Morris at the bottom of the screen. It's 2nd down and 10, but there's only 3 seconds remaining in the half. Straight ahead goes Buster, and that'll do it. So that's the end of the first half with the score, Chicago 20, Detroit 13.
CBS Sports coverage
are doing to the Minnesota Vikings, and how about the job that Barry Sanders is doing? We welcome both of those games now to New York, and here's one of the big ones, Joe Montana earlier.
Montana to Rice, you see this all the time, but one reason why it goes, Brent, is because the Eagles are in man-to-man defense. You can't cover Jerry Rice man-to-man. He goes 68 yards for the touchdown.
The Niners have been sacked 6 times by the Eagles defense. There's their leader, Reggie White. Now, this next one counts as a sack, but actually Montana tripped on his guard's foot.
Yeah, tripped on his guard's foot, primarily because of the pressure from that defensive line. He's been under pressure all day.
And that's the difference in the game. That's safety right now, 12-10. All right, the Phoenix Cardinals and the New York Giants, and it is the Giants defense which is dictating this game, and Magic standing on the sideline enjoying the work of this Giants secondary.
Secondary is alert this first half, Brent. Terry Kennard kind of picks this Hogaboom pass off and rambles 58 yards for the touchdown. But, you know, you expect great plays like this from the Giant defense because they do have a sound defensive football team. They're on the rise again, Brent. 4
interceptions, 3 against Hogaboom in the first quarter, and oh yes, they turned LT loose too.
When you turn LT loose, it's bad news for the offense. Gets a big sack here, number 56.
So it's easy so far for the Giants. Washington and Dallas, the Cowboys have been held to only 3 first downs so far in this game. It is 17-7 early.
Your Alvin Walton's a pretty experienced, strong safety. He kind of suckers Troy Aikman into this, kind of laid dead there, picked this interception off, rambled 29 yards for the touchdown. You know, Brent, one of the problems the Cowboys has, they don't have good team speed. Ernest Biner simply outruns the defense there.
So the Cowboys are down by 10 right now. All right, many of you are watching this game, 2013. Barry Sanders is making it a little bit tough now for the Chicago Bears. And, of course, tomorrow night, Bob Galliano is due to be married to beautiful Kim Newman, a swimsuit model who hopes that her husband stays healthy and those big bad Bears don't chew him up in the second half. Barry Sanders keeping a lot of heat off him, and Mike Ditka says, wait a minute. Rookie's not supposed to do that. How about Mike Tomczak?
Tomczak taking a pump here and then leading Dennis McKinnon perfectly in the end zone for a 40-yard strike.
But only 20-13. All right, Minnesota and Pittsburgh. And yes, that score is accurate. Those of you in Chicago, 21-14. The Steelers with the lead in that game. Buffalo and Houston down in the House of Pain. More pain for the home team, and that's rare. 13-10, the Bills with the lead right there. Seattle and New England, normally the Seahawks do not fare well on the East Coast. Not so in the first half against the Patriots today. Atlanta and Indianapolis, a couple of field goals by the Falcons. Perhaps the Falcons are the most improved team in the league. And then again, perhaps it is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers lead the Saints 10-7. And we'll continue now with the NFL Today after these messages from your local stations. Welcome back to our New York studios. A lot of attention has already gone to such rookies as Troy Aikman and Tony Mandrich, but the first defensive player chosen in the draft was a linebacker out of Alabama, Derek Thomas of the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, he too is enjoying NFL success, but it's tempered by the loss of his father. Pat O'Brien has the story of this young man for whom the end of the Vietnam War was only the beginning of a long journey.
We today have concluded an agreement to end the war and bring peace with honor in Vietnam.
4 days later in Paris, Secretary of State William Rogers signed the peace agreement, and by sundown there was finally a ceasefire in Vietnam. But for a 5-year-old kid whose vocabulary did not include the word war, it was too late. You see, Derek Thomas's father, Robert, had been shot down over Hanoi 30 days before.
I have a vague memory of him. You know, I remember things we did. I remember going out to Texas and visiting with him for Christmas. I remember little things about him, but not very much.
They say the good die young, and I guess that's the case with Robert, but also blood runs true, and Derek is truly his father's son.
You think about him a lot?
A great deal. Whenever I get ready to prepare for a game or something of that nature, I think about him, and I think about my grandfather, and I think about all the male figures in my life that didn't have a chance to see me play football.
Coming through is the big fella, number 55, Derek Thomas.
At Alabama, it was this linebacker who got the headlines and the awards, not the quarterback. The Kansas City Chiefs picked him in the first round and received their first reward last Sunday as Derek Thomas was named AFC Defensive Player of the Week. But off the field, Derek's hopes go back to his father, who was declared dead in 1980. They found some remains, but
I'm never going to give up hope. And they said that, you know, hey, he's dead. He won't come back. But for me, that isn't enough.
Why?
Because, you know, it's my father. He's missing. They hadn't showed me concrete evidence that he's gone. So until they do that, I'm going to still have hope.
Let us be proud of those who sacrificed, who gave their lives, so that the people of South Vietnam might live in freedom, and so that the world might live in peace.
There are 57,925 of those stories, but consider Robert Thomas's. He died just a day before his 24th birthday, a day before he was to come home to a life that included a 5-year-old kid named Derek.
In a funny way, I do consider myself as a casualty of the war, but I think it's made me a better person. You know, I've had to overcome that adversity, and I think I did.
Derek Thomas's life is a bittersweet mixture of fantasy and reality, the dream of football and the memory of his father. As for that war, for many it is a fading memory. For some it's the latest Hollywood version. But for others in many ways, the Vietnam War is still being fought. In one instance, on a football field in Kansas City. Pat O'Brien, CBS Sports.
Boy, I tell you, what a well-liked guy is. He's easygoing and soft-spoken, but many people...
In Pontiac, Michigan, and the Bears lead the Lions 20-3. And hello again, everybody. I'm Tim Brand, along with Dan Jiggets. And Dan, it's been an interesting, big play type first half.
It certainly has. You know, the Bears have kind of done the opposite of what everyone expected them to do. So usually the Bears have to win by keeping the ball on the ground and letting Neil Anderson run. Well, today, Mike Tomczak comes out, and it's Air Tomczak all of a sudden for the Chicago Bears. And on the flip side of that, Detroit starts running the ball, and they look like the Bears are bold with their rushing attack.
Take a look at some of the numbers that Dan's talking about, especially with the quarterbacks and the running backs. Here's the running situation. And the Bears have had a dominant first half, and yet it's only a 7-point ball game.
Well, I think one of the keys, though, is the rushing yardage that the Lions have 121 yards. Exceptional for them, exceptional for anybody against that Bears defense. That really sets them up, though, when you look at the time of possession.
Tomczak has been very sharp, 224 yards and 1 touchdown.
And Galliano on the flip side of that, 5 for 10 for only 79 yards, kind of the opposite of what you expect out of the stretch.
Barry Sanders became the first back to get 100 yards on the Bears in 40 games.
And then you see Neil Anderson, 9 rushes, 46 yards, a 5.1 yard average. But look at Sanders, 7.17 yards average per rush.
The numbers look great, but look at the efficiency of the Bears.
That's the thing that gets it done for the Bears. Every time they get the football in this game, at least in the first half, they take it down and get some points out of it.
Give us an overview very quickly. What do the Lions have to do? What do the Bears have to do?
Well, I think the Lions have to put some pressure on Mike Tomczak. If that calls for blitzing out of the secondary, Red Dogs, whatever it calls for, you got to put pressure on him because he's having too good a day throwing the football. And for the Bears, simply stop Barry Sanders, and they stop the Detroit Lions today.
All right, let's strap it on for the second half. I'm sure it'll be as wide open as the first half. CBS Sports coverage of NFL football will continue after this message and a word from your local stations. A lot of Bears fans here today. They've seen touchdowns by Brad Muster, and Tomczak hit McKinnon. The other points came from Kevin Butler. Then Barry Sanders, the only touchdown thus far for the Detroit Lions, and the added points came from Eddie Murray. He hit a 49-yarder just before the half. It's 20-13, Chicago, as Murray prepares to kick off and get us underway in the second half. Green and Gentry are deep, and they now switch sides. They still kick it to Green. Looks for a hole, breaks across the 20, all the way out to the 30. Well, Gentry and Green switched positions because they knew Murray was trying to kick away from Gentry. They still kick the Green.
Right. And it's no bargain kicking the Green. I mean, you know, he's just as effective running the football back on kickoff returns as Dennis Gentry is. 29-yard
return. Take a look at some of the numbers now. Tomczak has been very sharp, but look at the distance.
The key there being that those 3 for over 40 yards, and those have been in the air, too. Those have not been throw and then run.
These passes, I hope they're in the air. Yeah. First down and 10 on the 30. Big hole for Anderson to the 35-yard line. Tackle made by Victor Jones.
Boy, I tell you what, Jay Hilgenberg got the forklift on Jerry Ball that time. Just picked him up and removed him from the line of scrimmage, and that gave Neil Anderson an opportunity to break that ball back over on the right side. Great blocking inside by Jay Hilgenberg.
There's one of the runs now that you're talking about on first down. It brings up a 2nd and 5. Great position now for Tomczak, the quarterback. Tomczak, with time, has the first down. It's complete to Brad Muster. They'll mark it at the 41-yard line.
Little pitch and catch for the Bears. Mark Warts is slow getting up. Now it looks like he's ready to go back in the huddle. It's tough to get those offensive linemen out of the game. But he looks like he is going to go out of the game, and John Wojciechowski is going to come in to replace him.
Chris Spielman made the tackle, former teammate at Tomczak's in college. And Mike was telling us yesterday, Spielman's a great football player, but if he has a weakness, it's in coverage.
Yeah, he said that's the thing they always have a problem with, even at Ohio State. And that's the thing that they want to try to take advantage of and exploit as time goes by today.
First down Bears at the 41. Tim Brandt, Dan Jiggets with you, just underway in the second half. Bears lead by 7. This is complete to Morris. And again, he picks up at least 5. They'll mark it, make it 6. Knocked out of bounds by Terry Taylor.
A little bit more now, the ball control offense for the Bears. You know, the short hitch passes out in the flats to the running backs. But the way things have been going for Mike Tomczak in that 40-plus category today, and like you said, let's hope their passes when they're that far. Now you have to believe that maybe he's thinking about going downfield and going for another big strike. They've been successful doing it today.
If that's the case, he's setting them up nicely with the little thing and
That's
dunk.
right. That's the thing that sets up out to both sides. Now working downfield defense.
Second down and 4. Bears. Anderson breaks a tackle. Look out. Anderson inside the 30. He's gone. Touchdown, Chicago. Kevin Butler on to attempt the extra point. Tomczak will hold. And it's good. 12:31 remain third period. It's 27-13.
Jim Covert and John Wojciechowski right there on their two men. They set this play up very nicely for Neil Anderson. Set that pass protection look, break them in back. Now watch Wojciechowski right there with another block on Kevin Brooks. That allows Neil Anderson to get out around the corner. Jerry Holmes slips on the play, and Neil Anderson takes it to the coast for 6 points. You know, Neil Anderson dropped about 15 pounds this offseason. Got himself in that Roger Craig mind of thought in terms of getting himself in condition. And it's really worked for him. You see him breaking a lot of long runs this season.
So Butler kicking off. And Gray will take the big hop at the 8. This is Mel Gray to the 32-yard line, and that'll be all. Mark Green made the tackle. Now there's a flag thrown.
It's going to be on Cap Boso, number 86 for the Bears. Got a little shouting match with Toby Caston and pushed him on the play. You don't do those things when officials are looking at you.
Bears were saying they had possession of the football. 23-yard return. Here's the call.
Personal foul, 86 defense, first down.
Capozzo.
He got a little push. I saw him as he was getting up. He pushed Tony Caston. You can't do that when the play is over. You have to try to do it when the play is going on, because everybody in the world can see you do it out in the middle of the field.
4 plays, 70 yards. It took only 2 minutes and 19 seconds. The big play, of course, Neil Anderson, 53-yard touchdown run. If you're just joining us, Buster scored. Tomczak hit McKinnon for 40 yards. Anderson from 53, and Butler added the rest. For the Lions, Sanders touchdown, and Murray added the field goals. And it's 27-13 Chicago. First down and 10 Lions at the 47. Barry Sanders across midfield into Chicago territory before Trace Armstrong can pull him down.
If the run and shoot is going to be successful running the football on a regular basis, you got to block Trace Armstrong. I said the tackle's got to block him, but also one of the things that hurts this offense when you want to run and you get that backside pressure, defensive lineman chasing the plays down from the back, is there's no tight end to help scoop block on that backside with the tackle, and then you come up and block the linebacker as well. That's where the tackle and the tight end kind of cooperative block with each other and then pick off that backside linebacker.
It'll be second down and 6. Again, it's Sanders to the 44-yard line. He'll be a yard short of the first down. He was tripped up by Dave Newerson and Dan Hampton. The Bears have beaten the Lions 9 straight times.
So Dan Hampton talking to Richard Denton there, and I think what the thing he's asking Richard to do is to close the play down from the backside. Richard kind of took it easy on the backside of that play, and what you really have to do is slam that play down from the backside, and Richard Denton can get the tackle in the backfield. just like Trace Armstrong has been doing from the other side.
Third down, call it 1. Sanders gets outside. First down to the 37-yard line. Dave Dewerson will get credit for the tackle. The Bears secondary is thin, and it's a bad week for that. Donnell Wolford is banged up, not active, injured shoulder. David Tate has a hamstring problem, and there's one more week before Mo Douglas comes back from that suspension imposed by the league.
And then Dave Dewerson is a guy who's got to play like a linebacker like he normally does, you know, from a strong safety position. He's expected to make a lot of tackles in a game like this when you only have one other linebacker in the game, and that's Mike Singletary.
The ball at the 37. First down, this is Sanders again. He gets about 3 or 4 more. Steve McMichael and Trace Armstrong will get credit for the tackle. He's getting a workout.
He sure is. And one of the things you have to appreciate in the stretch offense is now you're seeing traps, you're seeing counter plays, everything out of the stretch offense. We got a player down on the field. Someone from Chicago is down.
One of the Bears is injured. It's Lemuel Stinson.
And as you were saying earlier, the Bears can ill afford an injury in their secondary.
They're thin in the secondary, and they're getting thinner. Be all right. I think he just got a stinger. 10:31 remaining now, third period. 27-13 to score. Some of the gloves that these receivers wear. Show them how it works, Dan.
Well, it's got a little bit of a tacky surface on it. As you can see, this paper will stick to it. It'll stick to something such as a football, and it'll also stick to your hand when you do a high five.
So it's sticky, all right. So they do away with the stickum, and they come back with gloves, which are basically the same thing. It's like Scotch tape.
Tacky surface helps you catch a hold of that football.
Second down and long for Galliano. Going deep, has a receiver. Clark can't hold on, but there's a flag. Lorenzo Lynch, number 43, will be called for pass interference. Clark should have still had it anyway.
And he's got the gloves on, too. You see what happened to Lorenzo Lynch, bumped him right down there deep in the end zone as he went to drive for the football.
They'll mark it at the 1.
Watch here late. Now that's when Lorenzo Lynch is going to roll up into the receiver. But I don't see it. You know, the receiver's going for the football. The football has already escaped him, so why do it?
First and goal at the 1. He hit his arm, Dan.
Yeah, right there. Okay, but where's the flag?
All right, he's going for the ball here. Hit his arm there, and the flag's coming right now.
No, he hit the AstroTurf there. I don't see that play. I don't see that penalty.
Bottom line is it's first and goal at the 1, Lions. Like it or not. Look for Sanders. He's the setback. Galliano with a great play. Touchdown, Detroit. Galliano with a great read on the contained man, faked to Sanders and cut it up. Eddie Murray for the extra point. It's good. The lead has been cut once again.
The Sky next Sunday.
After further review, we had a chance to look at the penalty on the play, and it appears that Lorenzo Lynch is face guarding the receiver there. You see he's got both hands up. Now, in order to do that, you've got to look back and look for the football. He wasn't doing that. He's looking back towards the end zone, and as a result, the penalty on the play, I first thought it was pass interference, and I didn't see any touching in there. So apparently they call face guarding on Lorenzo Lynch. As a result, the Lions were able to take that ball in from about 2 yards out, or 1 yard out.
And cut the lead once again to 7. This time, Gentry and Green will try something else. They'll line up stacked and then split. Eddie Murray will be kicking to him. So far, they kicked to Green every time. This time, Gentry will have a chance at the goal line. with 19, and that's all.
Now on the play, on the touchdown play, watch right here, Lomas Brown, the offensive tackle, maintains his block on Richard Dent, and then as Bob Galliano comes out in the option play, he's going to put Marcus Paul, number 36, in a sweat. Marcus Paul is not sure if she could go back, take Barry Sanders around the corner, or stay with the quarterback. In this case, Galliano can't really decide either. Finally, he says, I better tuck it up and run with it and get it in the end zone.
Boy, some great blocks down there, too. Lomas Brown, he'll get a pancake. After a 20-yard return, it's first down Bears at the 20. They've scored on 5 of 6 possessions in this ball game. Tomczak. It's complete to Anderson at the 24-yard line. Jerry Holmes with the tackle. Jerry Ball got out there in a hurry as well.
Well, one of the things that Jerry Ball will do for the nose tackle position is play sideline to sideline. He's got great feet and good speed up and down the line of scrimmage. For a big nose tackle, this guy moves around and is very active.
We're talking about a man that's close to 300 pounds. He's 298.
Very light on his feet, though. Could still dunk a basketball, and only he's about 6'2".
Just like you. I saw you dance.
A dancing former Bear.
Second down at 6 at the 24. Flags. There's still 3 seconds on the clock, so it's not a delay of game penalty.
False start, 57 offense. Second down.
Tom Thayer is the second time he got caught today. You know, sometimes what you do as an offensive lineman is you're trying to pull that defense off, so you give them a little move here and there and try to rock them a little bit, and maybe that's what Thayer's doing.
The Bears have had 5 penalties for 63 yards, and the Lions, who have really had a problem with penalties this season, have none today. Here's what we were talking about. 5 of 6 possessions the Bears have scored.
And you go back to the passing game, and that's what's been successful for the Bears today. Then finally, Neil Anderson decides to run one in from 53 yards out.
So it's second down, call it 11 at the 19. Lions have really had problems defensively today. This is Anderson. Big hole, breaks a tackle, and he's out to the 30. William White and Benny Blades made the tackle, and Blades has been some kind of active today.
I know at the half he had 10 tackles at the half.
He's got 12 now.
That's a whole lot of tackling for a strong safety. But this guy, I said before, is the leader of that defense and the guy that the defense looks to get animated in there. And he gets excited. He gets everybody else rolling as well.
Toby Caston comes into the ball game now at linebacker as you see Victor Jones hobbling off. Jones, a 2-year veteran out of Virginia Tech. He comes out of the ball game. Caston in. First down and 10 at the 30 for the Bears. Tomczak double pumps. Now looks deep. It's in the direction of Morris. And Morris has it at the 26-yard line.
Ron Morris needed a big game today. He needed to make some catches. He's been under a little bit of pressure because people feel he hasn't been doing as well as he possibly could. Mike Tomczak is having a great day. You see that pump fake again. Now he's going to go downfield to Morris. Morris is pushed off the receiver. Now this ball is underthrown because Ron has to slow up just a little bit. He beats Jerry Holmes on the play and makes the reception. Now one of the things you look for with Morris is you see he's got those brown gloves on. Those are cement mixers gloves. He doesn't wear the tacky gloves that we had. Those are actually cement mixers gloves. He's been wearing them for a long time. He says that they're very effective for him.
I'm sure he doesn't want to get the title stone hands. Mustard. Another first down for Chicago. You saw on that catch, White was the defensive back in the area. And he played the ball, but he didn't play it at his highest point. He went to look like he was receiving it around his chest. Morris went high and took it down. Defensive back's got to go up and get it at its highest point.
I think the thing that he felt, though, was Ron Morris was going to keep running. Ron Morris pulls up, turns around, and leaps up with the football. And that surprises White on the play.
First down at the 15. Chicago has been relentless offensively today. Look out. Anderson to the 10, to the 5, to the 2-yard line. Knocked out by Benny Blades. There is a flag.
And Jay Hilgenberg is arguing with the officials now. He saw the flag came in late, and it's holding on the Bears.
Their 6th penalty of the afternoon.
And when you look at the 6th penalty, historically this season at least, the Lions have been
holding 63 offense. First down.
The Lions have been the team picking up the most penalties so far this season. Now Jay Hilgenberg picks up a critical one today. And look at the Lions today, no penalties. Whereas before, I think they had number 2 or 3 in the league in penalties.
Dan, in 1937, the Lions had only 139 yards in penalties in 11 games, a record that still stands. This year, they already have 127 yards in penalties after only 2 games. But as you mentioned, none today. First down, they need 20. Tom Zach on the rollout. Throws underneath. Gentry to the 13-yard line.
You see what I mean about Dennis Gentry, though? He's the kind of running back, wide receiver that you can depend on in those situations. Mike Tomczak told us that if he doesn't go to his tight ends, he knows he's going to go to Dennis Gentry in a critical situation because he knows the kind of quality receiver he is. You dump the football to him underneath like that, makes that cute little cut back up there and gets another 2 or 3 yards on extra effort.
Bears needed 20, got 12 back. It'll be second down, the ball at the 14. Straight ahead. Muster inside the 10 to the 9. Jerry Ball makes the tackle.
You saw the guard and tackle inside kind of pull out, try to sweep around this corner, have the tight end block down and get Brad Muster on that corner. It's not a play that's designed to go for 15 or 20 yards, simply to advance the football a bit. So we understand on that critical play down there in the far end zone with Lorenzo Lynch and Clark that it was not a face mask. They indeed ruled that it was pass interference, and I'm still looking for the bump that they ruled it was pass interference. I just didn't see it.
Well, he grabbed his arm. Hit his arm on the way down after the dive. Third down and 5 at the 10. The Lions go with 6 defensive backs. Bears in the shotgun. This is Anderson. And there are flags. Anderson didn't get enough for the first, but there are flags. And it's against the Bears.
Second one down inside the 20. That'll get Dick to loosen his tie a little bit.
Here's Tom Dooley.
Holding, number 57 offense. Penalty is declined. Fourth down.
That's holding on Tom Thayer.
And you see Dick talking to offensive line coach Dick Stanfill in the sweater. You can be sure that he's saying, hey, look, that's 2 down here now inside the 20. Get your guys together down there and tell them to just push this ball in the end zone. Now, he didn't have enough time to say all that. Of course, I paraphrase for him.
So Kevin Butler comes on. He's got 14 straight field goals. This one from 25 yards out. And it's good. So the 25-yard field goal makes it 30-20. Well, get out your calculators here at the Pontiac Silverdome. We've had 50 points scored today, and we still have 4 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in the third period. A lot of it's come from the kickers today. Look at this. Butler has 3 field goals. Murray has 2. You talk about hot feet. They both have streaks now of 15 straight. Butler's kick this time. Taken by the up man. Back to the 32-yard line.
I think Kevin Glover's ready for the World Cup. You saw number 53. He's a starting center for the Lions. The ball comes to him on the squib. He kicks it back to the running backs and lets them run with it. Here's Kevin Evan, he's a University of Maryland guy. I know you wanted me to get that plug in for your old school.
I don't know if we'll be able to get a Harvard pop today, though.
I think we just did.
Your old school. 30-20 Chicago. First down and 10 at the 35. More than 71,000 here at the Silverdome. Galliano on first down. Has it complete to Painter, and he's got a first down, and that was a dangerous pass. Out to the 47-yard line. Painter made a nice play on it, and Singletary knocked him out of bounds. But, whoa, that was dangerous.
The guy that really forced the play, though, was Steve McMichael, 76, running along the line of scrimmage. That allowed Mike Singletary. You see him there biting a little bit on that play action. And he's coming along the line of scrimmage. Up underneath of that is McMichael chasing the ball. He's the guy that almost tipped it over, but Singletary makes the stop.
They're going to bring it back, though, Dan. There is a flag, and the first penalty of the afternoon against the Lions.
LA goes to the hands, the illegal block, number 87. First down.
Number 87 is Walter Stanley. And that wipes out a 13-yard gain.
Wayne Fonts, the coach of the Detroit Lions, has got something special going here. When you look at the emotion and the caliber of player that he's got, he's got a lot of free agents, but you can make people like that win. And Mike Ditka was telling us the other day, it's only about a quarter of an inch of difference between talent in this league, and the rest of it is desire.
24 players on this roster that have been cut by other NFL teams. He's starting from scratch. First down and 12 at the 33. Galliano steps up and has it intercepted. Lorenzo Lynch to the 34, and Galliano, who had 3 interceptions last week, throws one here.
So Robert Clark open, but he was open only for the time, a split second, when Bob Galliano looked downfield. Lorenzo Lynch is coming all the way on the play, number 43. Now you see Lynch is right in the middle of your screen. Now watch him come over. Oh, here he comes. I'm sorry, on the right side of your screen. Watch him come over. You see the receiver slowing down, and Lynch just steps in, and he's the receiver on the play. Makes a nice run after the interception, and Clark takes him down.
Well, Galliano was 21 of 31 last week, 1 touchdown, but 3 interceptions, so he's getting good numbers, but then makes a crucial mistake. First down, Bears at the 34. Buster, big hole, right side to the 21.
Yesterday we were talking with Mike Ditka about Lorenzo Lynch. He said he's one of those guys that it's either feast or famine. It kind of sparks out sometimes on you on defense. We saw the penalty that he got down in the end zone earlier. Now he comes back and saves himself by making a key interception. But I still say that penalty on the interference was the flag should not have been thrown on that play.
Brad Muster with a gain of 13. First down, Bears at the 22. Muster again to the 18.
Saw Jerry Ball and Jay Hilgenberg hooked up on that play, and then Ball just reached to try to make the tackle and just couldn't simply get back there and get the running back.
2 minutes and 50 seconds remain in the third period. It's been loud in here this afternoon.
Yeah, surprisingly so. Well, with 74,000 or 71,000 people here, it's a place we used to call the microwave. It gets loud and it gets hot.
The microwave. Second down and 7 at the 19 for Tom Zach. This is Sanders, and he's nailed. Thomas Sanders really takes a lick. Benny Blades came up, and he got a lot of help.
Benny Blades plays the game much like Dave Duerson does for the Bears as a linebacker / strong safety, number 36. Watch everybody. Michael Coper strings the play out. He takes Brad Muster out of the play, and as a result, Jerry Ball and Benny Blades come over and make a major collision with Thomas Sanders on the corner. But the key there was Coper stretching the play to the sideline, kept 2 blockers occupied, and that allows the inside people to come up and pursue and make the stop.
Blades may have taken the brunt of the impact. I don't know what he was so happy about when he got up.
You got to make it look good if you did.
Third down and 4. Anderson And he's not going to get there. Brooks tripped him up. Good play by Kevin Brooks.
Trying to settle into his defensive end spot. He came here from Denver and first from Dallas. Of course, he's the #1 draft choice of the Dallas Cowboys.
Started at left tackle in Dallas. Took over for John Dutton. Butler, with 15 consecutive field goals, will be attempting a 32-yarder. Certainly long enough, and it's good. So he now has 16 straight, and we've had 53 points scored here in this ball game.
Now the Bears are up by 13 points, and now what the Silver Stretch has to do is come out, and they've got to get 2 touchdowns now to get back in this ball game, get ahead in this ball game. At the same time, defensively, they've got to try to stop the Bears in that running attack.
Dan, coming up next Saturday, a clash of 2 SEC powers featuring the Auburn Tigers and the Tennessee Volunteers. Now, Auburn standout quarterback Reggie Slack is having a marvelous season. He'll be going up against the upside-minded Bulls of Tennessee. They've already beaten UCLA and Pasadena. That's all next Saturday here on CBS Sports, Auburn and Tennessee.
What do you think about Reggie Slack? Is he a Heisman candidate?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think he'll win it, but I certainly think he's a candidate, and he's a marvelous athlete. Really a fine quarterback.
We saw the Michigan State and Notre Dame game yesterday on CBS was a heck of a ball game. I think now people are starting to wonder a little bit about Notre Dame. Are they as good as they thought they were from a week before when Rocket Ismail took two kicks back?
People here in this area are still humming about Michigan's comeback win against UCLA last night. Kevin Butler kicks off, and Mel Gray will field it at the 7. Nice move by Gray to the 29-yard line.
That was a great move by Mel Gray. He stepped in, went in the closet, jumped back out, let Dick Shapiro take his man out, and then he took off running again. This looks like a cartoon play here. Watch Mel Gray, number 23. Heading up the field, north-south, all that kind of thing. You know, that's what the good return men do. Now watch here. This is the key. Right on the 20-yard line. See that? He dips in the closet, then pulls back out, lets the Bears take themselves out of the play, and he goes down for about 5 or 6 more yards.
John Roper finally got him. Looked like Houdini. First down, Lions at the 30. Maynard straight ahead across the 35 to the 36-yard line. We're told that Sanders has bruised ribs but will return. Barry Sanders. It'll be second down and 4 to 36. Boy, you hate to have Barry Sanders sitting out at a time like this. They need 2 touchdowns. And Sanders on the afternoon, 18 carries, 126 yards, and a touchdown. He doesn't look like he's going to return there, does he?
It looks kind of like he's cooling out over there.
That'll be the last play of the 3rd quarter. So that's the end of the 3rd period with the score. Chicago 33, Detroit 20. We now pause for a word from your local station.
Be all you can be.
It's 33 to 20. Chicago as we head into the final 15 minutes of the Silverdome in Pontiac. Tim Brandt and Dan Jiggins, and we've been told that Dave Dewerson has left the game. May not return.
Bruised shoulder, and in his place is David Tate, number 49.
It's second down and 4. This is Mel Gray, and he's got speed across midfield, and he's nailed by Lorenzo Lynch. 14-yard pickup. First down, they'll move the chains. That's a fine tackle by Lynch.
That was a beautiful open field tackle. Lorenzo Lynch is one of those kind of players that you know sooner or later he's going to stick his head in and make a tough stick. Now this is the reverse. See the key there now. Richard Dent did pursue down the line of scrimmage that time. Got caught in the play. That's what the reverse is designed to do. But Lorenzo Lynch is downfield and he makes a stick of the day on that play.
Benny Blades would not agree with you. First down at midfield for the Lions. Galliano, incomplete, intended for Mobley. This is the way it looks in the box scores. And the Lions have not led all afternoon.
No, and the scary part about it for the Lions now is the Bears really own the fourth quarter in their first two regular season games. And if that's the case going into this one, that scoreboard could look like a pinball machine.
The Bears have not been scored on in the fourth period. The numbers on Galliano, he also had an interception. He's missed 5 of his last 6. That's the most important stat. Second down and 10. He's got to find a hot hand someplace. Got the completion here, but it's not going to be enough for the first down to Troy Johnson.
The nature of the stretch offense, though, if you need the 5 or 6 yards to get the first down with the kind of quick receivers that Detroit has, that's almost an easy term to say, well, on second and third and 6 or less than that, this offense can get it on a regular basis. Because there's so many options run off of each route. We talked about the Bears in the fourth quarter. Those are the numbers. 35 points and 0 for the opposition.
Galliano, third down and 3. Needs a block from Brown. He got the first down. Well, it wasn't easy and it wasn't pretty, but he got the first down before Singletary could trip him up.
Lomas Brown knew this quarterback was in trouble. He's number 75 on the right side of your screen. He picks up Richard Denton. Good pass protection until Steve McMichaels breaks through. Now watch as Lomas Brown, 75, sees his quarterback in trouble, turns back there, gets a key block on Trace Armstrong, number 93, and that allows Galliano to get the first down. Lomas Brown, everybody thought he had a bad day against Lawrence Taylor last week. We went into the Lions locker room, and he was given one of the game balls because when they looked at the tapes, they said, you know, he did a heck of a job against an outstanding rushman in Lawrence Taylor.
They called it the King of the Beast Award. Painter picks up 3. Tackle was made by Trace Armstrong. 12 minutes, 25 seconds remain in the ball game. The Lions need 2 touchdowns. How about the Bears? 88 points scored already this season. Painter's slow getting up now, so Barry Sanders is banged up. Painter's banged up. And with timeout on the field, we'll take one as well. 12-14 remaining.
Cotton Dockers. If you're not wearing Dockers, you're just wearing pants.
Offensively, we told you the Bears have scored 88 points already this season. They've scored here 7 of 8 possessions, and you see the total yardage down at the bottom.
And one of the keys there is to keep down the number of turnovers. That helps your offense be successful. But one of the other things that helps an offense be successful is when offensive linemen can get their jerseys tailored. Now, one of the things they're doing this year, and they've done in years past, is they put spandex inside on the jersey. That tightens it up for the offensive lineman, prevents those defensive ends from grabbing you on the shoulders. And the other thing is you cut off the sleeve so you can show those big guns to everybody.
All right, so we've had gloves, we've had jerseys. I think he rated the equipment. Office
I'm taking it all home.
Taking it all home, that's right. Tony Page comes in now as the lone setback for Detroit. Second down and 9. Galliano, incomplete, intended for Troy Johnson.
He thought he was going to get a flag on that one, but Lorenzo Lynch timed it up very nicely and came in and made the stick just as the ball was getting there.
Galliano a little banged up. And Barry Sanders with bruised ribs, and he has not moved off the bench. Now, the word that we have is that he will return, but he's not moving off the bench, and he doesn't look like he will be back.
Looks like he's on a serious water break over there. Hey, Tim, again, first downs for the Lions. 9 on first down, 9 times they've rushed the ball, only 4 times they've passed, and 2 of them on penalties. Still pretty amazing when you think they're a passing team.
Big play here on 3rd and 9 from the 38 for the Lions. And Galliano has pressure. Now throws it. Intercepted again by Lorenzo Lynch. Galliano's second interception of the afternoon. The Bears are giving him a tough bachelor party.
Lorenzo Lynch once again, wipes out a bad play that he had earlier in the game with another interception. Galeone's going to drop back, roll over to his left. Lorenzo Lynch has got man-to-man coverage. Now watch him step in front of the ball. Right there, he just steps in front of the receiver, Stacy Mobley, and simply just takes the football away. Lorenzo Lynch is going to be a fine player, I think, because he's got one thing that really is going to make a defensive back great. That's a desire to hit people and a desire to go for the football, and that's what it takes to play back there, and he's got it. Young man, not many people know about him, but he's a good football player and getting better. Plays with bad intentions, is that what you're saying? First down Bears at the 16. Neil Anderson straight ahead, bangs his way out to the 18-yard line. Eric Williams makes the tackle. Let's go back to something Mike Ditka told us yesterday, how it's just a smidge of difference between players. And if a guy has that desire to go out there and get the job done and that want to, then he's the guy who's going to be able to play for you and really make things happen. Second down and 8 for the Bears. Clock continues to move. Under 11 minutes now. They lead by 13, and Tomczak wants a timeout. And he just got it in time before a delay would have been called. There was 1 second left on the play clock. 33-20, 10:53 remaining. We'll be back. For the baseball races, Chicago leading Pittsburgh 3-0 in the third. The magic number is 4. They're trying to make it 3. And in the American League, the Birds of Baltimore trailing the Yankees 2-0. Toronto scoreless in 2. Baltimore trails Toronto by 1 game with 7 remaining there in the American League East. Tomczak on 2nd and 8 throws underneath, has the completion of Muster. He'll be 3 yards shy of a first down. James Griffin makes the tackle. But Tomczak has just matched his career high of 298 yards passing. He's going to be a very excited young man when the game is over. One of the reasons why he's had some success is Rick Landry, the offensive coordinator for the Bears, the new offensive coordinator for the Bears. Of course, the #1 draft choice of the Lions back in, I think, around 68 or so. Had a lot of success playing with the Lions, but he's also had a lot of success working this offense for Mike Ditka, and he is making the calls now. You see him in the middle of your screen with a silver top, and Greg has done an exceptional job of mixing things up for the Bears and balancing out the offense. Silver top, you're talking about the hair, not the sweater. Third down and 3 at the 22 for Tomczak. He's being chased by ball, throws it incomplete. I thought McKinnon had it. Broken up by McNorton, but that was a fine play by Tomczak. He put it right there to McKinnon between the 8 and the 5. One of the things that has made the Bears offense sputter at times has been drop balls and of course throwing the ball away to avoid sacks, and that's what happened on that play. Drop ball. Well, we're seeing the first punt of the afternoon for the Bears. Maury Buford comes on. He leads the NFL with a net average of 40 yards. He's had the day off pretty much. This is his first punt. He'll be going to Mel Gray right there, number 23, who's back at the 36. His own 36. And they're going to take a delay. I don't understand that. I don't either.
Offense, 4th down.
I'm not sure they were doing it on purpose. He's as confused as we are. I know one thing, he'll get it straightened out, squared away. Under 10 minutes to play, and the Bears still lead 33-20, but they don't have the feeling they've really broken this thing open yet. The stretch offense has been able to, the Lions have been able to come back and put some more points on the board. 20, that's more they've scored in any game this season. The Lions could get great field position here. It's a high, wobbly punt. Gray will take it at the 44. Fine play made by Morris. So it's a 40-yard punt, a 3-yard return. Morris will get credit for the tackle as he tripped up Mel Gray. Rodney Peete dressing for his first game today, but we were told he would not see action, and he hasn't.
He's got a knee brace on because, of course, he had the knee banged up in the last preseason game, but he's the guy that they feel is going to engineer this stretch offense and make it a real success. But Bob Galliano hasn't been doing a bad job of keeping things going while Rodney Peete has been away on the injured rag. Rodney Peete's a man on a mission. He's told you how disappointed he was at his drafting status, and he wants to prove those scouts wrong. Tony Page, the lone setback. The Lions have first down and 10. Galliano. And he loses 3 yards. John Roper wasn't biting it at all. They tried to fake him out, and Roper just hung in tough. They called John Roper Ravage when he was in college. Now, one of the reasons why. Now, watch, there's going to be good coverage on the play. Good coverage on the play, and as a result, Bob Galliano's got to pull the ball down and take off to his right. Now, you see he's looking downfield, but there was coverage by Stinson down on the receiver that came across in motion. Nothing open downfield, and now John Roper makes a nice tackle on Bob Galliano. But the key there was good coverage by the Bears secondary. 4th sack of the day for the Bears. 2nd and 12. This is Painter. Big hole straight ahead, and he bangs his way out across the 45. Tony Page. Big hole for a big back. So Painter out with a sprained ankle. Sanders has bruised ribs. And Page comes in and gains 13 right off the bat. He's 5'10", 235-pounder out of Virginia Tech. He's not a speedster, but he's strong. He averaged over 7 yards per carry in the preseason. That's because with his size and the way that he runs the football, a lot of defensive backs are kind of scared to try to put a shoulder on him. Giants are winning big today. Houston has come back against Buffalo. And that's a graphic there that tells you that the Bears know how to play defense in the 4th quarter. No opponent so far this regular season has scored on them in the 4th. And of course, we showed you their numbers before and what they do offensively, scoring 35 in the 4th quarter so far. Only 2 games, of course, you had it today, and it looks like a pretty good setup. It's still early. 8:56 remaining in this quarter. This offense is dangerous. That's the thing. They haven't faced an offense that's this active with 4 wide receivers on the field at all times. But to be effective, Galliano's got to regroup and get some more confidence. He's been struggling here lately. 3rd down and inches. He's checking off now. Audible. Painter has the first down. Tony Page, rather. I said Painter again. You can hear Bob Galliano on his snap count. He's saying red 14, red 14, slant 14 off to the right side of the center. And that's where he's audibly, because he sees that there's no linebackers back there for the Bears in the middle of that offensive line. So that's where he wants to send Tony Page. William Perry checks in for the Bears. It's first down Lions at the 42-yard line. Galliano with pressure has it intercepted. Roper inside the 30. Knocked out of bounds at the 12-yard line. Galliano knocked him out, but it was a poorly thrown ball, his 2nd interception, and he's being booed vociferously here at the Silverdome. A 43-yard return by John Roper. Booed vociferously, huh? Watch John Roper on the right side of your screen. He never bites on this quick hitch here. Bob Galliano's trying to get it out to his receiver, who went about 3 yards up the field and then dropped back. Roper never takes the bite on the play, steps in front, makes the interception, and gets caught by the quarterback when he's trying to run out for the score. For that. Now at the top of your screen, you see Galliano looking out for that receiver that's out there in the flat. Roper jumps up, makes a great play there, and it takes off, and unfortunately doesn't make a great run. First down and goal Bears at the 10. Buster bangs his way down to the 5. They'll mark him inside the 5 at the 4. Well, we said we got the feeling the Bears hadn't busted it open. They're about to do that. Fourth quarter, defense takes the ball away much as they did last week against the Vikings. A couple of takeaways there. Your offense takes it in and puts it in the end zone, and all of a sudden, you know, the day is done. Now, with Bob Galliano, you have to wonder now, is Wayne Fonz going to turn around to Rodney Peete and see if he can get a little action in this ball game?
I doubt it, seriously. That pretty much tells the tale, doesn't it? They turn the ball over, and you can't win when you do that. Second and goal at the 5. Mustard to the 3-yard line. Michael Koper makes the tackle there, along with Benny Blades.
I'll tell you one thing. I kind of like the way Brad Mustard's been running the ball in short yardage today. I think he's been pretty effective. One of the things he's doing is getting a little bit lower body lean and keeping his legs pumping. And for a big guy, if you do that, then you'll be successful in short yardage. If you stand up like he does as a conventional runner, then you're going to get tagged down there. But he's been keeping low to the ground and keeping his legs pumping.
Clock continues to move. Third and goal. Touchdown Bears. Brad Mustard. Set up nicely on the play action by Tomczak.
One of the keys here is you're going to see number 74, Covert, come back on the backside and block for his quarterback right there. He takes out the rushman, Jimmy Williams. That allows Tomczak to get out to the other side and throw the ball back to Brad Mustard. But the key there, Jimmy Williams is coming on that backside blitz. Covert steps on the left side, goes to the back on the right, and blocks it. Makes a key block.
Butler's extra point is good. And it's 39. Make it 40 to 20.
Working to be the best they can be. Teammates, sponsored by the U.S. Army. The San Francisco 49ers possess the most dangerous quarterback tandem in the league. Steve Young's legs and Joe Montana's arm make San Francisco signal callers almost unstoppable. A spectacular run by Young beat the Vikings last year, while Montana's passing delivered the game-winning touchdown in Super Bowl 23. Young and Montana have both come through in the clutch. Teammates who make the 49ers the best they can be.
Dear Dad, I know you didn't want me to put off college for the Army, but Dad, I'm learning things here that are really going to help me succeed, no matter what I do.
Qualify for the GI Bill and the Army College Fund and earn $17,000 for college for only a 2-year enlistment, or $25,200 for a 4-year enlistment.
Dad, now I'll get the most out of college and the best from myself.
Be all that you can be. Get an edge on life in the Army.
When people talk, Monday on CBS keeps popping up as the funniest night on television.
Hallelujah! Thank you!
The laughs are on Murphy Brown.
Well, this is just my old reporter's hat, my old reporter's coat. The bra's new.
Then it's the famous
Jim Covert wasn't his play. Watch Brad Mustard. He's going to slip out into the flat here, but watch Covert come back to the backside, and that's where he's going to take out Jimmy Williams, number 59, and allow Mike Tomczak to roll out to his left, replacing the area where Covert left, and now throw the ball into Brad Mustard for the touchdown. Sometimes it's the little subtle things that happen on offense that make you successful, particularly when you get down on that goal line.
Boy, Koper, number 55, really bit on the play action. And Mustard just snuck out inside all by himself. Mel Gray takes it 1 yard deep. Gray high steps his way to the 27-yard line. A return of 29 yards. Don't forget, coming up next Sunday on CBS Sports, it's doubleheader day. Tampa Bay against Minnesota, Atlanta against Green Bay, and the Washington Redskins will take on New Orleans. That all starts with the NFL today at 12:30 Eastern Time. Then the second game, the LA Rams against the San Francisco 49ers, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Game 2, doubleheader Sunday here on CBS. .547 remaining in the ball game. It's 40-20. Bears first down at the 28 for Galliano. Has this one complete. And Stanley drops the football. Ball still loose. This is Bestie Jackson. and it'll be Bears football. Now listen to the boos.
Walter Stanley came to the Lions from the Green Bay Packers and had a lot of success against the Bears over the years, but one of the things you have to do is maintain possession of the football, and that ball was coming out even before he was hit. Now this looks like a rugby scrum here. You see the Bears and everybody can't decide who's going to pick the ball up and run with it. Bessie Jackson says, hey, wait a minute, I got it, I'll run with it. And he takes it off, but he gets nailed just as he starts to move.
Turnovers and mistakes have been killing the Lions.
Mike Ditka talked to us yesterday. He told us how important turnovers would be in this ball game, and he was very prophetic in that sense.
Matt Suhey checks into the ball game now with Thomas Sanders. First down at the 42. This is Sanders. Nice cut inside to the 37-yard line.
The nice thing is that the Bears just put in Jim Harbaugh, quarterback, a Michigan guy. Gets to play a little football here back in his old haunts.
Harbaugh, 6'3", 204-pounder, 3-year veteran. Grew up in a football environment. His dad was a coach. Coached first at Michigan with Bo, and then became a head coach where? Western Michigan?
I think you're right on that. But you know, the great thing about it is you grow up as a coach's son, you certainly learn the game of football, particularly from an offensive standpoint.
Spend a lot of time in locker room. Second down and 6 at the 38. Suhey is really tagged by Chris Spielman.
Chris Spielman told us that he wanted to have the game of his career against the Bears today. But the Detroit Lions defense just has not been able to get it going. Here's a counter OT, both the backside guard and tackle, Bortz and Covert pulling out on the play. Now watch Spielman come in here and put the tag on Matt Suhey. See how he just extended out and then just did the dive?
It's a great lick.
Yeah. Spielman is an intense guy.
Said he was yelling last week at Bavaro at the end out of frustration. He said it didn't work.
He said, who do you think you are, five-time All-Pro? And he realized Bavaro was.
Third and 4, 36. Harbaugh going up top to Gentry, and there's a flag. Pass interference. It was White and Griffin defending Gentry, and flags were immediate.
The thing that that's going to get the crowd wondering here is, now again, you can see clearly it's pass interference, but everybody I'm sure is wondering why the Bears throwing deep in the end zone when they're ahead by 20 points. Well, all those things make a difference. You can see clearly there it's pass interference.
You could have called that penalty on either one, White or Griffin.
That's a 2-for-1 deal.
Griffin hurt him first.
Number 35 on the defense in the end zone. First down on the 1-yard line.
White got there first, so he'll get the flag.
One situation where you don't want to be first.
First and goal at the 1. You have to wonder why he's throwing deep with the score 40-20. Harbaugh. Touchdown, Chicago.
Jim Harbaugh rolls out to his left, gets blocking out front by number 73, John Wojciechowski. Now he sees nothing downfield, just tucks the ball up. He says, I'm going to take this one in myself. Just barely avoids Chris Spielman. Chris Spielman was another guided missile play for him.
Butler trying to add one more point. We've had 67 points scored now. So the question begs, are the Bears that strong? Are the Lions that bad?
I think one thing, the Bears are playing exceptionally well today. Watch Jim Harbaugh. He's right here. He's going to roll out. Now watch the blocking is sealed off in this area. That allows him that opportunity to get around the corner, look downfield, and make his decision. You see Michael Coker got pushed in right there, number 55. But you see that blocking setup. Nothing out to the right-hand side there. That's when Harbaugh decides, hey, I'm just going to tuck it under and run it in. Spielman just misses him as he crosses the goal line.
The owner of the Detroit Lions, William Clay Ford, and family. And he's got to be a little bit distraught right now. 47-20, his team trails. And all those there's a tremendous upbeat situation here in Detroit, and they believe it will get done eventually. But today, they've been rather inept on defense.
Well, I think that the question always has been this season so far is what are the Lions doing on defense, because they have not stopped offenses when they've had to. And certainly today they had some major breakdowns, but the other key was, though, is turnovers by the offensive Lions. The Bears interceptions by Lorenzo Lynch come to mind right away.
Bears have scored on 9 of 11 offensive possessions. Butler's kick this time is taken by Paul Palmer. Palmer out to the 30. Look out! Palmer across midfield to the 33-yard line. Knocked out by Marcus Paul and Kevin Butler. A return of 57 yards by Palmer.
Paul Palmer was the #1 draft choice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Came over here after the Chiefs decided to let him go and get out of town. And he does one thing very well here. He just runs in a straight line down the field, got some blocking, and now watch him try to outrun Marcus Paul. But he gets cut off by Kevin Butler, who gets a nice little cut block in there to take him down.
You know, they say teams that are going through transition go through 3 stages. They hope they can win. Eventually, they think they can win. And then finally, like the Bears, they know and expect they can win. And right now, I think the Lions are in that middle stage. They think they can win. Galliano with time. Great catch by Richard Johnson. Johnson had 9 last week, and he makes this with one hand. Lemuel Stinson takes him down.
The great thing about this offense, this stretch offense, is that it forces you to have confidence in your passing game, because even if you've thrown a couple of interceptions such as Bob Galliano has, you still have to come back and keep throwing that football downfield.
Good look at Richard Johnson, his 4th catch, 62 yards today. First down at the 17. Page bangs his way inside the 10 to the 9. Well, it was a close ball game most of the afternoon, but then look what happened the last 4 possessions for the Detroit Lions. 3 interceptions and a fumble.
You know, it always sounds trite and cliche as to say it, but turnovers, you know, can destroy your football team. But it's a clear example of what happens when those turnovers happen, and the other team takes advantage of it by taking the ball and putting points on the board.
2nd down and 2. Galliano. Page to the 1-yard line. Tony Page was awfully close.
Nice option play, though, by Bob Galliano. Good decision, and the timing on the decision is what's the key. And I watch him come out here, gets the defensive end in the pickle, tucks the ball up. Now he's downfield. Now he flips it out as Marcus Paul approaches him and lets Tony Page do the rest of it, and he gets ever so close to scoring a touchdown.
We're 4 seconds away from the 2-minute warning. The clock is stopped at 2:04. The ball is inches from the goal line. And the lone setback is Tony Page. Galliano. No signal yet. Touchdown, Detroit. So Bob Galliano gets 6 more.
Bob Galliano's just going to go in off the right guard in the center position. You see him tuck the ball and just take it in on the quarterback sneak. See there being that offensive line. You see them in the end zone, laying in the end zone. That means they got some movement up front.
7-6 Chicago. Bob Galliano just scored on the quarterback sneak, but it's been a long afternoon for that young man who will be married tomorrow here in Detroit. Eddie Murray on to attempt the extra point. And it's good.
I think he can rest easy for another week. At least maybe he'll give his guys another little break and tell them to get on some rafts and go to the beach or something.
Hey, Dan, why are so many hospital workers, including a respected chief of orthopedics at San Francisco General, quitting? Well, they're afraid they could end up with AIDS. 60 Minutes tonight on CBS, followed by Murder, She Wrote, then CBS specials, Island, Sun, and Wolf. That's all tonight on CBS. .159 remaining. Even the line is worn out.
That tail's sagging just a little bit today, but I think if you look at what the Lions have done with this offense and the numbers they've been able to produce, you cut down on the turnovers, and all of a sudden you're in the ball games in the fourth quarter. They were killing themselves in the fourth quarter ball games with turnovers. And defense, you gotta look at that fourth quarter as something critical for them in order to survive this season in the NFL. There's the baby line coming down. Oh, maybe that's the receiver for the run and shoot. They're all about 5'8".
The Cub.
Honey, I Shrunk the Lion.
Eddie Murray for the onside kick. And it's recovered by Matsui. So the Bears will have the ball at the 45-yard line. First down with 1:59 remaining in the ballgame. Tim Brandt and Dan Jiggins, the old Chicago Bear with you. The Pontiac Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. 47-27 is our score. Under 2 minutes to play. And Detroit hung tough for a long time, but then started turning the ball over, and the Bears are too good to do that.
And you think about it, the Lions offense has put 27 points on the board. Normally that's enough to win a football game.
Mark Green comes into the ball game now as the tailback for the Bears. Breaks one tackle and struggles across the 45. Kevin Brooks will get credit with the tackle. They've played 110 times, these two teams, and this is the most ever in a ball game.
Tim, I remember, though, we had one game here as the shortest overtime in the history of the NFL. We tied the game up on the last play of the regulation. And Dave Williams, one of our running backs, comes in, takes the kickoff, and runs it coast to coast. And we go home. I was so glad, too, because I didn't want to face Bubba Baker again. That was the worst day of my life.
The Lions have taken a timeout here.
Philadelphia over San Francisco in the fourth quarter.
Giants big over Phoenix. Washington looking for its first win of the year after two heartbreakers, 27-7 over Dallas.
Pittsburgh over Minnesota. The Bears must have really beaten up on Minnesota last week.
Seattle gets a win.
You know, the funny thing was yesterday when we were talking with Ditka, he's trying to still convince us that Minnesota has better personnel than the Bears. I wasn't buying that one.
Second down and 10 at the 45. Harbaugh with backside pressure from Kofor gets away from it and scrambles out to the 41-yard line. Barry Sanders, marvelous afternoon. Over 100 yards running, but then injured his ribs, bruised his ribs, and he hadn't seen much action here in the second half. There are the numbers.
He's the kind of back that you want to protect him in this situation if he's dinged up, because he's, as we said before, a very special kind of running back, and one of those guys who could be with you for a long time and be very, very productive. And Mouse Davis is sitting down there now talking to him and finding out just how he is. I think Mouse likes Barry even more because Mouse and Barry are about the same size, that 5'7", 5'8" category.
Dan, next year will be the last year of the contract for Mike Ditka. And, of course, we mentioned that there was an article in the Chicago Tribune. We talked to him yesterday, and although he doesn't say what the future holds, he talked very openly about the commissioner's job. He talked about possible ownership. He talked about possible broadcasting careers. He said he didn't know what he was going to do, but he certainly would evaluate and listen to all of them. Do you think he'll be back?
I think he will, but I think what he's looking at is probably going to the middle of the next decade and then making a decision to get out at that point. But it really interested me to hear him say that he was very interested in that commissioner situation. Wouldn't mind taking a look at that at some point. And you look at what the owners have been talking about doing, maybe going only 5 years with the new commissioner. That would be right for Mike.
Well, he's still locked in until 1991, and he'd be the first one to tell you that's too far in the future. Right now, Harbaugh on 3rd down and 6 has Green, and Green has the first down. Nice spin move on the sidelines. Continues to go down to the 20-yard line. Mark Green, 5'11", 184-pounder, 5th-round draft pick out of Notre Dame, just a rookie, a gain of 21. Just to keep you updated on the National League Baseball pennant race, Chicago leads Pittsburgh 3-1 in the 5th. Their magic number going into this game was 4. Over in the American League, the Yankees are leading Baltimore 2-0 in the 8th. Toronto is tied with Milwaukee, and Toronto has a 1-game lead over Baltimore. They have 6 left to play after this one. First down at the 20 for the Bears. 1:22 remaining in the ball game. This is Green again. This time he trips. So Green the carrier, and Green should get credit for the tackle.
Green on Green. Hey, if I'm in the Bears hunt now, I kind of probably would be thinking about trying to run the clock out. There's just about a minute left in the ball game. You're up 47-27. I don't want to run another play. I kind of want this thing to die an easy death now, because I have a feeling that the Lions will feel like you rolled it up on them. You roll a score up on them with no justification for doing it. I know Mike Ditka doesn't consider feelings, though, when he gets into a war such as this one that he's at with the Lions.
Well, even in a losing effort, there were some marvelous performances today. Barry Sanders strong for the Lions. Blade finished with 13 tackles, 10 in the first half. And it doesn't look like they'll run anything other than kneel-down play. Coordinating producer of the NFL on CBS is Charles H. Milton III. The producer of today's telecast, Bob Dekas, directed by Mike Woody Arnold. And the executive producer of CBS Sports is Ted Shaker. They're watching it tick down. The Bears go to 3-0. The Lions go to 0-3. And this one is in the history books. Wayne Fonts is extremely positive. He says it's going to happen. Dan, do you believe it will?
I think it will. It'll take some time. Now, what the thing that Wayne has to do now is go back. He's a former defensive coordinator, and he can't be pleased with the way the defense has been playing over the first 3 games of the regular season. I'm sure he's going to go back, sit down with his defensive coordinator, Woody Woodenhofer, and say, hey, Woody, what's the deal? How come these guys are scoring on us? Are we doing enough blitzing? Do we have the kind of personnel we need to have? I know there's been a lot of talk here in the Detroit area about getting some more rushmen. They got Kevin Brookson, big guy, local guy, but he hasn't been really putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Maybe they need to send Michael Kofer even more than they have been.
If you're Barry Sanders, as you look at this reminder, NFL Today coming up with all the scores and highlights of the day, but if you're Barry Sanders, you put in another strong afternoon and you come up way on the short side of the scoreboard.
Well, when you're developing a team, though, you've got to expect those kinds of situations. Yeah, you would love to have won the first 2 games when you're really in them in the 4th quarter and had a chance to, to go ahead and win the ball games. This one, they really weren't in it when they got to the 4th quarter. Things had started falling apart for them. But when you're a young guy like Sanders, you see some positives in what you've done and what you've been able to accomplish in a day against a very tough Bears defense. Now, keep in mind, this defense has been around and been #1 for a few years, and nobody's found it easy to run against them, and they gain 100 yards.
Some say this is perhaps the best chemistry and the best attitude that the Bears have ever had. I can tell you this, they certainly are explosive. 47-27, the final score. You've been watching CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League.